best of the week. All this stellar broadcasting happened in one single week. This week, to be specific, thanks to Opie and Jim. This is Opie and Jim's Best of the Week. Best of the Week!
I just want to move on with my fucking life and my career, but for some reason, Anthony will not let me do that, which is extremely strange to me. He spent 2 hours on his show pretty much trying to destroy what I've done in radio, what I've done with the Opie and Anthony show, kind of destroy me as a person. And honestly, I'm saddened by it. I feel bad for him. I think it was completely pathetic. I had nothing to do with his firing, but for some reason he will not leave me the fuck alone. Period. Since he got fired 9 months ago, he's been passively aggressively taking shots at me on podcasts, allowing people on his show to trash me, manipulating the haters out there. And, finally he decided to go public and tell the world what he thinks about me. That's pretty much the facts here. I knew for many, many years that Anthony, disliked me immensely. I knew for many, many years he was manipulating people behind the scenes to also dislike me immensely. I tried to talk to Anthony about our issues over the years. I tried. I mean, I got problems. I got issues. Yes, of course. Of course I do. I've also try to, take care of those issues with therapy and other things. The fact is, me and Anthony have not had a relationship since 1999. That is a fact. Before that, from 94 to 99, we were like best friends, literally best friends, doing this radio show and being incredibly successful with it. But then yesterday he chose to like basically say that I hadn't really nothing to do with the success of the Opie and Anthony show, which is ridiculous. I'm not gonna defend what I do as a radio guy. I'm not gonna defend what I did for the Opie and Anthony brand, because that's just ridiculous and not fair, and he knows it. So I don't know where this is coming from. I know when he got fired, I said it, Jimmy said it, we all said it, that it was completely unfair. He should not have gotten fired for the tweets. Absolutely. We've said that. We also did try to save his job. I don't know how many times I have to say that. We absolutely did. Okay. Even with the fact that I did not have a very good relationship with the guy. And like I said, Friday, it would be crazy on my part to not defend him and try to keep him here, because the Opie and Anthony brand was so strong no matter what kind of relationship me and Anthony had. My thoughts were this: the show was absolutely coming to an end. We were definitely in very, very different spots as far as what we wanted to do with the radio show. So my thought was, as we were coming to the end of a contract, that maybe it would be time to split. But it would be time to split maybe here. It was a thought I had. Let's just split up the show. I could do my own thing. I can more than hold my own. Anthony could more than hold his own. And then, of course, Jimmy would be stuck in the middle, which would have been fun to see what the fuck, how that would have played out. There was no guarantee that this company was going to keep me and Jimmy or anyone else here. There was none whatsoever. None. And with that said, once again, me and Anthony never talked about continuing. Never. So I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know why he has to, take it out on me. I have no idea. If Jimmy or anyone else wants to maybe pipe in, that's fine. But the fact is, everyone decided to stay. Everyone. Not one person left when Anthony got fired. The whole staff behind the scenes, Jimmy, everyone decided to stay. They all had, decisions to make in their mind. And in the end, everyone decided to stay. So to say that I'm a tough boss, yes, I absolutely am. I have to get things, done. I mean, this is a huge radio show with a lot of moving parts, a lot of people that work on it. Yeah, I had to be a tough boss at times, and people absolutely didn't like the things I said and did. And I actually, over the years, did take notice of that and tried to adjust the way I do talk to people and just the way I manage people. I'm still learning and still trying to do a better job with that. But what Ant did last night, excuse me, I only slept like an hour, was just completely and utterly uncalled for, period. I reached out to the guy on many occasions, said, look, we need to, get a beer. We need to grab a bite to eat. And he decided he wanted to try to do it on Twitter over the weekend because I finally just kind of had it with the passive aggressive shots and stuff. So I actually was trying to have fun with some of the hate that was coming my way, and then he jumped on board. It was all about, I guess, how I handled negotiations over the years. The fact is, I always was very close with negotiations with management and my agent. At this point, I can negotiate my own contract. I just know how to fucking do that shit. In the early days before we had an agent, I had to negotiate all the contracts. I thought of a story last night when I was going to bed where we were moving to Boston from Long Island. And they were paying us really, really shitty money, which, proves I wasn't that great at actually negotiating back then. And I actually gave Anthony pointers and tips on what to tell the general manager at the time, Bruce Mittman, on how to get a couple extra thousand. The point being that Ant is just lying when he says that he really thought I was going to leave and that I was putting everyone's jobs, in what's the word I'm looking for?
Jeopardy.
Huh?
Jeopardy.
In jeopardy. Did you ever feel that, Mars, that I was putting everyone's lives in jeopardy around here?
No.
Thank you, Mars. It was a negotiation tactic. It's a lame negotiation tactic. So many radio guys have used it over the years, including Howard Stern, where you threaten, I'm going to leave, I'm going to leave, I'm going to leave. And you hope that, you have some kind of pull and that the bosses are going to come to you and go, oh, my God, he means it this time. But I never meant it. And me and Anthony have the same agent. And if he really thought that I meant I was going to leave, all he had to do was call Bob, and Bob would have absolutely told him that I wasn't leaving whatsoever. The point was that Anthony wanted to sign like 5-year deals around here, 3-year deals around here. And, working very closely with Bob, I felt like we were worth way more money than that. When we came to satellite radio, we were very, very damaged goods. So even though we make a great living and we made a lot of money when we came to satellite radio, it was nothing close to what we deserved and what we were worth. So my thinking was, why sign a 5-year deal at one salary where you're not going to get any bonuses, any raises for 5 years? So my thought was, let's get shorter contracts. So then they knocked it down. Well, how about 3 years? And I said no, because they would hit you with a number, and then for the next 3 years, you would have to make that number. My thought was, well, if we could get it down to 2-year contracts, then the third year would be a new contract. I hope people could follow this. And that would be almost a guarantee that we would at least get a bump up. And it worked beautifully. We started signing 2-year deals, and the first year of every 2-year deal was a nice raise for everybody. So I don't know what he's talking about as far as, fucking with everyone's livelihood with contracts and stuff. I knew exactly what I was doing. The fact is, Anthony did not get involved with negotiations. Our agent would fly in from L.A. to try to sit down with me and Anthony. Sometimes he would fly in just to want to shoot the shit, and our agent is an absolute bore. So I understand not wanting to hang out with him. But then when it came to contract time, Bob would come into town and he would literally be outside that door. He lives in L.A. and he's like, all right, where you guys want to eat? And every single time, Anthony just wanted to go home. And this was close to trying to figure out contracts. So that alone was not fair whatsoever, because then I would go with Bob and have to sit through his fucking boredom and try to figure out little things that we can maybe get in a contract, including more money for me, more money for Anthony, more money for Jim, more money for the staff, possibly get more vacation days, try to get some shit done with the studio. This was all the shit I had to do behind the scenes as Ant decided, no, I just want to go home. So for him to take, shots at me at how I handled negotiating is ridiculous, because he just didn't even want to be involved in the whole fucking process. So I don't know what to tell you. So then, like, we started going at it on Twitter over the weekend over that point. And then all of a sudden he's like, you know, my show or your show. And I felt, you know, after 20 years, I deserved maybe we could try to figure out some shit behind the scenes. A beer, dinner, whatever, you know. And he chose not to. And I even said to him, look, stop manipulating the haters. Stop telling, you know, stop exaggerating the truth. And then I'll sit down and have a beer with you and we could figure some shit out. Because the fact is that they don't even give a fuck Ant was fired anymore around here. But that's on him to figure out how to come back here. I know they didn't give a fuck after a few months. But, I mean, leading up to his firing, I mean, if he wants shit on the table and if he wants to be honest with himself, what he should bring up is the fact that the company was very, very mad at Anthony Cumia. They were mad that he was missing a lot of days of work. Now, Anthony would argue, well, I deserve my time off, and he's absolutely right. The problem they had was him coming in, not coming in last minute and putting the whole show in turmoil as we're running around trying to figure out how we're going to do the show that day. Because the point is, I could do radio with anyone, but I need time to at least, you know, set up my guys and set up people who want to come in here and do radio with. They were really annoyed by that he was missing so many fucking days or coming in late. You know, he could only blame traffic so many times before the company's going to, you know, raise their eyebrows and go, what the hell's going on with this guy? Why is he missing so many fucking days? Bob was called on that. Anthony was talked to about that. They were really annoyed by that point. Secondly, they were also very, very annoyed with the fact that the race rants were going on day after day after day, and they were worried that someone out there, a blogger, was going to take a soundbite of what Anthony said, put it online, and fucking it would be blown out of proportion. That was another thing that was told to Bob, our agent. Now, I don't have a relationship with Anthony, so I have no idea if Bob ever talked to Anthony about that. I'm not going to sit here and say Bob absolutely did. I have no idea. But they were deeply concerned about the direction of the show and the amount of race rants that were going on this fucking show, period. And Ant knows that somehow, some way. So if he wants to openly talk about his firing, maybe he should take some kind of responsibility and discuss everything that was going on behind the scenes before it led to his firing, period. As far as me and him goes, and as far as trying to work out our issues, you know, I know I tried. I know that he obviously had major problems with, you know, something, but he never, ever vocalized it. We would not talk before we did this radio show for many, many years. We didn't talk. We didn't put the show together anymore. We just came in here, turned on the mics, and we went at it, which is, it's amazing that we had the success we did under the circumstances, because we literally stopped working on the show, stopped talking to each other, stopped talking when the mics were off. And then we would have blowouts because, you know, we couldn't take it anymore. And then that was the only time in the last fucking 15 years we literally were on the phone together. And we would work out our problems, and it would actually feel good. And then we would like promise, well, we should start hanging out again. We should, you know, maybe do some more dinners. And then I would, and this breaks my heart, to be honest with you. Then I would say to Anthony, I go, you know, man, it would be really cool if, you know, you saw where I lived. He goes, yeah, I would really like that. That would be really nice. The fact is, and I only bring this up because he's trying to, you know, tell everyone yesterday what kind of fucking person I am. Here's a guy I did 20 years of radio with. We had an amazing run. I'm proud of what I did. I'm proud of what he did. I'm proud of what we did together. If you want to spin it and say I'm useless and it was all Ant and stuff, whatever. I'm not going to change your mind. That's fine. But I know what the truth is. So I would go ahead. It would be really nice, you know, if you come over and, you know, check out where I live. Here is a fact. Anthony has no fucking idea where I even live. He's never been to my house, okay? I've been in my new house for 8 years. He's never fucking seen my house. I have 2 kids. I bring this up only because he's questioning my character as a human being. I got 2 kids. He's never met my daughter. He wouldn't know what she fucking looked like if she crawled right by his fucking face. I have a son that is 5 years old. He met him once. The only reason he met my son was because my wife came in here once to meet me so we could go to lunch after the fucking radio show. Okay? This is the type of shit I was dealing with behind the fucking scenes. So for him to, try to question my character and question me as a human being is completely and utterly ridiculous. When I got married in Philly, it was a 3-day event. I didn't expect everyone to go there for 3 fucking days, but we set up a really, really nice wedding. Most people have said that it's the best wedding they've ever been to. Anthony went for half of a day. He decided during my wedding to go to Atlantic City and take some of the staff with him. They literally got up. I know I'm saying literally again, so have fun with that on Twitter as well, whatever. They got up halfway through the wedding because they would rather be at the Borgata down in Atlantic City, and they just left my wedding. Him with a few of the staff members. That hurt me a lot, to be honest with you. I'm not going to lie to you. And then, Jimmy stayed there the whole time, had a great time, gave me a hug. He knew how important it was to me, gave me a ridiculous check, really nice wedding gift. And, and nothing. I mean, call me whatever, but, I am sentimental in the end. I never got a wedding gift from the fucking guy in the end either. So this is the shit I was dealing with. We had no fucking relationship whatsoever. And this show was coming to an end. I absolutely was thinking, it's time to move on, but I was trying to figure out how we do that. And then July came along and Anthony got fired. And there was obviously no fucking possibility of us continuing together. There was just none. We never talked about it whatsoever. He set up a home studio way in advance, and now he's trying to spin that and saying, well, I never knew when the guy was going to leave, so I was protecting myself. That's just not true. That's just not true. He set that up a long fucking time ago. And if we were going to do a podcast, the amount of work that would have taken to get that off the ground and to make it work, because the podcasting world is still kind of squirrely. We did not have that in us. We weren't talking anymore. There would have been no way to set up an actual podcast network. And I tried to take the high road, and people were like, when are you going to be on Ant's show and stuff? And I knew all of this already, that the guy fucking despised me and didn't fucking like me, but I was trying to be cool, like, oh, I don't know, someday. And then when he did reach out to me, I'm like, look, dude, I had a simple request. I go, look, how about we get a beer or have dinner and try to talk some of this shit out that obviously is bothering both of us. And then I would love to do, your show. Maybe it would be a new beginning. Who the fuck knows? But that's why I never did Anthony's show, because I knew a long time ago what he thought of me, and I wasn't going to fucking fake it and go in there and make believe, hey, pal, what's going on? So, yeah. So I guess the other point is, he always wanted the radio show without me, and he's got it. So I don't understand why he won't just move on with that. I don't get it. He thought it was useless. He thought it was just a fucking board op. Whatever. He's got what he wants. So fucking just move on with your radio show. I'm gone, and you don't have to deal with my shit anymore. Just go. But he won't, for whatever reason. He needs to blame someone. He's fucking really fucking pissed off that he got fired. I would be too. But, the fact is, he said it. People have said it to me. They said if I got fired, Anthony would have continued here, period. And we all know that's true. So I'm just asking him just to fucking move on, period. I'm not doing this tit for tat. I don't give a fuck what he says today on his show. Go there. I've promoted it way more than he's promoted me, or I've said way more nice things about him than he's ever said about me. Go to anthonycumia.com. You can listen today. I'm sure he'll fucking rant and rave again. But like I said on my Twitter, I'm not the problem. Whatever's eating him, inside, he's got to figure it out. Because in the end, I'm not the fucking problem. Everyone stayed. Everyone. Not one person walked when I left. So that, I'm some shitty fucking boss. And secretly, just about everyone behind the scenes thanked me for staying here. They said, thank you, thanks a lot. Because my life would have been pretty fucked up if you decided to leave too. So, yeah, I'm devastated how this turned out. Absolutely, I wish I could say something differently. I wish, but the fact is, me and Anthony fucking don't like each other whatsoever. Period. And I'm glad he finally is, showing the people that, because he was hiding behind that for a long fucking time. So in a weird way, when he went off yesterday, I was very, very relieved. I'm like, there you go. Thank you. Thank you for finally, admitting it. So, I mean, we are doing very, very well here. Very well. And I don't know, maybe it bothers him. I don't know. I mean, he's an extremely talented guy. I hear he's doing well. I don't subscribe to a show. I don't listen to a show. And to tell you the God's honest truth, I didn't even listen yesterday. I have people. They gave me the bullet points. That's all I needed. I can imagine, how bad and ugly it was, And I truly just wish the guy nothing but the best. I mean, we had an amazing run. I take pride in what we did. So, but in the end, I'm not the problem, brother. Just not. I've taken care of a lot of issues. I mean, some of the stuff he brought up yesterday is so old and long ago. I know the therapy I've been in has definitely taken care of some of this shit. Not all, but that's also what made me a pretty damn good radio, host, having a fucking crazy side to it. So you take the good with the bad. I would love to know if he took any fucking responsibility for what happened to him, what happened to others around here yesterday when he was ranting and raving. Or did he just tell the world that he's just an amazing fucking guy and, everyone else is the problem? Anyone?
I mean, this is a discussion you two should be having. So there's nothing no kidding. Yes, I'm just saying there's nothing I'm going to say. Because if I say something you don't like, then I got to take up Ant's position, and then me and you are fighting, and he's not here to defend his own position.
Oh, I get it.
So
Jim Norton is completely in the middle. I mean, the latest thing is now people think I'm holding you to a contract or something.
No, I don't feel in the middle. I don't feel even that uncomfortable. People think, and I appreciate everybody saying, like, it's not about me.
Right.
People are going, oh, Jim, I feel bad for you. You guys don't have to. I'm a grown up. There's other things that are bothering me when I came in today that literally have nothing to do with you and Anthony, as odd as that is. It's zero to do with you two.
Right.
It's weighing on my mind. I watched what he said. It's probably not what you think if you didn't see it, but you guys got to, there's just nothing I'm going to say that's going to work to fix it.
Right.
I can't fix it. I can't fix it. And anything I say is either going to be misinterpreted by him or misinterpreted by you. There's not because he's not in the room.
Right.
I would rather have you guys had this discussion on the radio together.
I did not want to do this on the radio. I did not want to do this on the radio. These are fucking deep fucking wounds that cut extremely deep. And everyone talks about how Ant doesn't like conflict and this and that, but then in the end, he causes like incredible conflict. I didn't even want to fucking respond to what he did yesterday, but obviously I was pushed into a corner again. I reached out to him a bunch of fucking times, even after he got fired. He's got text messages from me saying, hey, man, what about a beer? Let's try to talk. I said it on Twitter when he was like, your show or my show. Let's not do this on Twitter. Man. We have great lives. That's what's so ridiculous. He did what he did yesterday for 2 straight hours from a state-of-the-art studio in a multi-million-dollar house. We have great lives because we got together. The first time I saw Ant's house before we got together, he didn't even have a car. It was on blocks in his front yard. It was a shitty rental. He was using the company van to get around. We have great lives. So what? Now you have to fucking try to destroy me? Are you kidding me? We were great together. You could downplay what I did for us and the brand all you want. I'm not going to defend that to anyone. I know how good I am on the fucking radio, period. And I also know where I'm not that good, to be honest with you. I was never supposed to be the funniest guy in the room, never.
I will jump in and say he never said, and I did watch it last night, he never said you weren't funny or you weren't good on the radio. He never said that. He
said that I was a program director with a microphone.
He was talking about, and this is where I don't want to get into because I have to take it. He was talking about the attitude sometimes you have in studio, but he wasn't talking about Opie isn't right. Good on the air. Opie didn't contribute. He never said anything like that.
Right.
He never said anything like that to me personally.
I did lie about one thing over the years. Like I when I started going to therapy about 6 or 7 years, I kept saying I went for my mom. I actually went for Anthony as well, but I was trying to downplay that because that sounds like, it makes you sound kind of like a pussy, to be honest with you. But the fact is, I had issues growing up with my mom that really affected me as an adult, and it was finally time to take care of that. But also what pushed me to therapy was I couldn't handle him anymore. I didn't know how to talk to him anymore. I didn't know how to get to him anymore. I learned growing up that you yell and scream when you have a fucking problem. As you notice, I'm not fucking yelling and screaming. But I didn't know how to get to him to at least talk about our issues and try to figure shit out. It was driving me nuts, and it definitely influenced my mood. Definitely did. Other things certainly as well. But, I don't feel as trapped or moody since he left in July. I feel kind of free, to be honest with you, because we just did not fucking communicate anymore, and we had no fucking relationship. And I did not know how to break through that. I just did not. Whether it's my fault, his fault, our fault, that's fine. But I did not know how to do it. Maybe I just didn't have the skills to do it. But Lord knows I tried. He knows the conversations we had when things got really, really bad, and we finally had a fucking talk. And we would yell and scream, and we would get some things done, and it kind of felt good. And then I would try to continue that. I'm like, all right, man, this is a good start. Why don't we try to, at one point it was stupid. I'm like, why don't we just try to get breakfast once a week and we'll just shoot the shit. We never did it. We never did it once. I couldn't tell you the last time I actually had a meal with Anthony. I think it was last April when we did Unmasked. That was the last time we had a meal together. And before that, it was years and years and years, period. And it was a hell of a way to do a show every day. And then you're sitting there going, oh my God, we're one of the biggest radio shows in the country, but we fucking can't stand each other. This is fucking nuts. It was nuts. We didn't work on the radio show for 6 or 7 years. We would just come in here, nod at each other, turn the mics on, and then and put out a pretty good radio show. We did 20 years. Our chemistry was amazing for 15. The last 5, our chemistry wasn't that good whatsoever. It just wasn't. So I just want to move on, period. And to Anthony, this company doesn't even fucking hate you, but that's on you to figure out. That's on you. But there was way more to it before your firing. You know that. You know how fucking annoyed and pissed off they were getting at you. And honestly, it bothered me as well. Yes. I'm not going to be a pussy and hide. When you would call in sick last minute a lot, every once in a while shit happens, of course. But it was happening so much, it was completely annoying and would put me in a fucking bad mood. Yes, you're right. But guess what? It would put other people around here in a bad mood as well. But that's up to them to fucking speak out about. I'm not going to fucking throw anyone under the bus personally. Whoever wants to talk can talk. But they were fucking mad too. Like, what the fuck, man? We're trying to get things done here. We were on, some good rolls there. And he was talked about it. The company was fucking mad about it. And then there were hints, well, maybe he has an issue. And honestly, I said, leave me the fuck out of that, because I don't know. I officially don't know if you have an issue with, alcohol, whatever. And I told him that. I said, just leave me the fuck out of that. And we don't hang out socially so I can honestly tell you I have no fucking idea if he has an issue. So, I'm not perfect. I got my things. I know it. No one has to tell me. I get it. But I also know we've had a pretty good run since July, and it's been really a lot of fun. I think people are enjoying themselves around here. I know listeners are happy in general. I know the company is happy, which I guess makes me a company man because I'm happy that the company I work for is happy. Whatever. A lot of people write, when Ant left, I probably should have left. One of the first things I said when me and Jimmy came back in the air was, we have been put in a horrible situation. And to this day, I believe that. I believe it probably would have been easier to just walk, not work with Ant because that was not a possibility. To this day, it's not a possibility. And then maybe try to find another, radio job somewhere else. You're probably right about that. In the end, that probably would have calmed down a lot of the haters out there. But, I did what I could for Anthony. I absolutely did. And if he wants to think, and he said it, hinted at it, that, that I probably didn't do as much as I could have. That's just a lie. That he should have, tried to save what we did the last 20 years. Yeah, I got that part of it. I absolutely was. The Opie and Anthony brand was fucking tremendous and really strong. And even though I knew it was probably time to split the show and move on, we could have done it here. I do mornings, he does afternoons, whatever. Jimmy bounces back and forth. And then maybe somehow we work out in there where we would do a couple hours a week with each other just to keep it going just a little bit. That was my thoughts. Honestly, Ant has no idea that those were my thoughts because, once again, we barely fucking talked off the air. Barely. But to say I wasn't trying to, save the brand or save his job is just complete and utter bullshit. And this is the last time I'm going to say it. It's bullshit. I only knew the company was going to continue with me and Jimmy after the contract when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they're like, all right, let's start negotiating a new deal. And I'm like, wow, okay. And me and Jimmy were having good shows and working on our chemistry. And I was like, God, this is, new and fun. Okay. And then, yeah, we signed a new deal. Yep, we certainly did. And in the meantime, Anthony moved on quickly and started up his show. Quickly. I mean, all he knew was that we were still under contract. Within that time, he could have talked to, I don't know if he talked to other people, but he certainly didn't talk about it with me. Like, well, all right, when the contract's up, why don't we try to figure out, how we continue? Never had the fucking conversation. Never. And the people that work for him, they started up the Kumia show. I don't even know what it is officially, Twitter account. And, I got it when they followed everybody from the show except me. I got it. Trust me. If you were trying to hurt me, you did. And then I try to make a little joke on Twitter about like, oh, it must have been an oversight or something, jokingly. And then someone around here got to them and then they begrudgingly, I'm sure, decided to follow me. I don't know why he continues to just take it out on me. I don't know. There's a whole room and offices filled with people that stayed as well. And he gave them all a fucking free pass and just fucking focused his anger on me. Honestly, it's not fair. I always try to do right by him and us as a radio show, period. So I don't know. That's my my thoughts on what happened yesterday, I guess. Should say fucking not worry about it. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, George. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to just move on. We had a great run. And then, after yesterday, he's made it impossible to ever do a radio show with him again, to be honest with you. I don't know how I even think about doing another radio show with him. There were a ton of fucking low blows. I enjoyed both sides, but thank you, Opie, for being open and honest on the air. Well, as best I can. I don't know. Like I said, I don't even want it to be a me versus him. I never even thought that it would come down to this. I knew there were issues and stuff. I'm like, all right, he's doing his thing. It sounds like he's doing well. I get the feedback from people like he's doing well over there. I'm like, okay, cool. And I know we're doing well over here. And that's how it should have been. That's how it should have just been. But it's ridiculous. I mean, we're both multimillionaires, and we're gonna fucking go tit for tat. Really? We don't get along, and that's okay. But we have great lives. Fucking great lives. I guess people, just so you know, I guess they call me Greg Shells or something. I swear to you, it doesn't bother me in the fucking least. Doesn't bother me in the fucking least. Go back to all the lies you guys all started about me and my family. Do that. Because the Greg Shells is just ridiculous. What does that mean? Like, people are scared. People are scared when they're around me. Good for them.
It's not scared, no. It's not a scared thing.
What is it?
That you're the boss.
Yeah, I didn't want to be the boss. I never wanted to be the boss. Anthony chose not to be the boss. I never wanted to be the boss. There's your headline. But when me and Anthony got together, I was the one that had, all the knowledge in this fucking business. Anthony is extremely funny. I'm not going to say was or any of that shit. Anthony's extremely funny and extremely talented, but he didn't know the first fucking thing about radio. So believe it or not, I took him under my wing and taught him this whole fucking business. And then somewhere in there was a jump off point where he got it, and he excelled at this, but he didn't know shit about anything. And then that put me in the position where I had to be a boss. I did not want to be the boss ever. I just wanted to try to focus on doing a creative, funny, thought-provoking at times radio show. I was pushed into that position, and he could have certainly helped me with that, but he always just fucking chose to get the fuck out right after the show, not get involved. And there were real issues behind the scenes at times. And there could have been issues that I personally caused myself, yes. But he chose to avoid all of it. So then I look like a fucking, raving lunatic at times when I act out and yell and scream and get frustrated because things aren't being done properly. I didn't have management skills going into this.
I'm just saying that's what it was. Your mood kind of dictates the mood of the room. Whether you want that or not, that's what that is.
Sure. You know what? I mean, there are times your mood does too. There were times Anthony's mood does too.
Yours much more. Dude, I'm not shitting on you. I'm telling you truthfully.
Right.
That's the truth.
Right. But I certainly don't feel that anymore. I don't. Okay. I feel like it's at a more manageable level. Because I would look at Anthony like, what the fuck? We can't even fucking talk. It would eat away at me inside. It would just eat away at me. I was diagnosed through some doctors having irritable depression, which you might want to look up. It's where you get depressed and really fucking frustrated because you feel like you're trapped and can't take care of situations in your life. Proud to say that I don't really have that anymore or as much. Because the frustration has left my life. It was extremely frustrating trying to get that guy to talk about anything. And, I have a feeling what this is about way back in 99. There was a girl around that, I probably should have been nicer to. I know I apologized for that years later, and maybe it was too late. Try to explain what was going on back then. And the atmosphere and why I was really frustrated that, she was always around, and it made it harder and harder to try to work on the radio show. I know now I was wrong, and I did try to talk to him about that. I know I have apologized for that. But, maybe he never got past that, which is fine. I mean, I don't expect him to accept anything. I don't expect him to accept my apology. I
can't speak for Ant, but that's humiliating shit. Like when someone's mean to your girlfriend.
Right.
A lot. That's humiliating shit.
Right.
That's really humiliating shit.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, but we were also trying to do a radio show, and she literally would just be in the studio the entire time, and we weren't talking anymore. And now I'm like, oh my God, now I'm competing on air just to talk to the guy to try to, figure out what we were doing that day. And I was really frustrated by that. And I handled it wrong. You're absolutely right, Jimmy. You're absolutely right. I handled it wrong. And I did apologize to him. I hugged it out with her. There was a time I hugged it out with her too, But that's 16 years ago. That was 16 fucking years ago.
Things that happen early on define the way things are going to go.
Yeah.
With people. And when stuff like that happens and you feel, I can't speak for this, is where I'm not going to pretend I know what Anthony thinks about everything, because I don't. But I know that stuff like that defines our relationship between people. It's real hard to fix that stuff. It's real hard to fix that stuff.
Yeah.
Because resentment builds up deeply.
I mean, we probably should have fucking, broke up the team back then. I mean, back in 99, I actually, me and Aunt weren't talking at all. She was always around. Maybe I, unfairly took it out on her. And I called my agent. I said, I'm done. I'm leaving. And he's like, are you crazy? Do you understand what is about to happen? You guys are about to be syndicated around the country, and you're about to become millionaires, officially become millionaires. I'm like, that's great, but I don't get, I don't get along with the guy. We're not talking. So Bob asked me, and this is the truth. I've told this story a few times. Bob asked me, is there anything we could do to salvage this? And that's when I said, there's this guy, Jim Norton, that's been coming on the show and killing it. And, if we could add him, maybe that will kind of help us get through these radio shows, because we were literally, there's literally again, sorry. We would turn off the microphones and just not even look at each other. We would just kind of look around the room and look up in the sky and look over here, and I would leave and go take a leak. And it was just a horrible way to do radio. Not blaming you, Anthony, but you want honesty. I presented the fact that, I wanted to hire Jim to Anthony. He was not for it whatsoever, which is funny because, A, you guys are friends. B, had and continue to have, because you do his show, great chemistry. But the fact is, in the beginning, he wasn't for it whatsoever, But he had no solutions to the obvious issues, that were in front of our faces. And that's the only reason Jimmy joined the show back then. It became something else, obviously, and, loved Jimmy to death, and me, Anthony, and Jimmy just had an amazing run together. We always talk about me and Anthony and our amazing run, but it's not even fair to Jimmy, because he's been around since 99, 2000. Jimmy's done 15 fucking years here. So it wasn't just me and Anthony. It was us three together for the last 15 years that just did just amazing fucking stuff. And then I just remember one other thing. So there was one other issue. I did try to quit a year and a half ago, because there's rumors out there. Yes, I did. But this cut extremely deeply, and as far as me trying to just move on with the radio show and try to just hammer it out with him. About a year and a half ago, I was actually at Sam's mother-in-law's house for some kind of fucking Jewish holiday. And all of a sudden, people that are very close to me start texting me and going, Ant's trashing, F.H. Riley's on Twitter. I'm like, what? So I go to Twitter, and Ant's pretty much, live tweeting his experience at F.H. Riley's. So I get to the bottom of it, and it turns out my brother, Brett, hires a guy, a host at F.H. Riley's. Anthony comes in. I think there were fans there. And this guy Ant goes to this guy, I'm Anthony from Opie and Anthony. The guy didn't give a fuck. He didn't even, I swear to you, he didn't even know our radio show. He's like, oh, okay, good for you, whatever. But then said, there's a wait. My brother was getting slammed that night. So that bothered Ant a lot. And I honestly, I don't blame him. I mean, if he goes to my brother's restaurant, he should get the red carpet treatment, period, yes. But the guy literally did not know who Anthony was. So then Anthony waited. He got frustrated by that. So he started tweeting, what the fuck, I got to wait at F.H. Riley's or whatever. I don't have the exact tweets. And then he sat down and tweeted some other kind of shitty things about my brother's restaurant and stuff. And and how the bill wasn't picked up or something like that. My brother Brett wasn't even fucking there. He was home. All right. When I found out about this, I'm like, holy crap. You know, the least he could have done was texted me and said, yo, I'm at F.H. Riley's, and, you know, kind of being, even if he said I'm being treated shitty, that would have been fine. That would have at least been something. But he didn't contact me whatsoever. So then that was Saturday night or Friday night. I'm not sure exactly. And then it ate me inside all weekend, put me in a horrendous mood, because now I'm like, wow, he's taking shots at my brother's restaurant. My brother has nothing to do with me and Ant's relationship and what he thinks about me. So we get into do the radio show Monday. I can't even look at him. My fault. Yes. I'm fucking seething inside. And I'm like, oh my God, here we go. Another radio show where we're fucking really pissed off at each other. So right before Ecstasy of Gold, my phone goes off. And, a text. A lot of times my wife will text me when she's up, just to tell me that, you know, she's up and the kids are cool. So I look down, and the text says, the little cunt won't even look at me. I went, what? And I'm like, huh? What? Why is Aunt texting me that? What? Who's not looking at? Then I realized that the text was meant for somebody else, and that he fucking sent it to me. I'm like, wow, okay. So I wasn't going to do a radio show that day. We had a huge blowout. Everyone fucking heard it. And I left, and I went, you know, and talked to Mel Karmazin. I said, I quit. And the guy would not let me fucking quit. He literally would not let me quit. And he calmed me down and says, look, you know, I know you guys got issues and stuff, but you guys are good together. You got to, you know, maybe you got to go in there, try to figure this shit out. And I did. But honestly, I don't know. There was something about that cut even deeper some of the other shit. And I don't think I ever got, you know, over that, because now he's fucking with my family. I mean, he was treated bad at F.H. Riley's. And we did end up talking about it, and we did end up patching it up. We did patch it up a little bit, and I apologized for my brother. My brother also told me to tell him, look, I just did not know the guy was there, and the host was brand new to the job. You know, Brett, you know, offered to pay his whole tab and all that. If Brett was there, the people that do know Brett at F.H. Riley's, he always does the fucking right thing. And I apologized, because I'm like, yeah, they should have known who you were. They should have escorted you right to a table, pushed whoever was next out of the way, and you should have got the VIP treatment, and your bill should have been taken care of. Yeah, you're absolutely fucking right. But that one, I don't know.
You were mad at me for that one, too.
Huh?
You were mad at me for that one, too.
Well, I'm trying to keep you out, because I to this day, I'm convinced he was, you know, texting you. I can't prove that, but I really feel like he was texting you that day, you know, because I don't know who else he would be texting. You know, it's just me, you, and him. I think he tried to claim later on he was texting his girlfriend or something, to be honest with you. But yeah, and I wish at the time I had a better way to handle that, but I was seething all weekend, because all I was doing was trying to enjoy my weekend. And now, you know, he's live tweeting his experience at F.H. Riley's, my brother's fucking restaurant. You know, he needs it. He needs that restaurant, and he needs his livelihood. And I'm sitting there going, holy fuck, you know. And then, of course, the fans loosely, because, you know, a long time ago, the fans split, were just completely attacking me, going, why the fuck isn't F.H. Riley's taking care of Anthony? Why is Anthony have to wait? Why this? They're just going with, you know, what he was tweeting, and just completely attacking me. And I'm like, I have fucking nothing to do with this. And as soon as I was able to try to do something about it, I did. And I took responsibility for him being treated shitty. But when he texted me by accident, when he meant to text someone else, I was just like, holy fuck. You know, it was an eye-opener to what level we were at as far as our relationship goes. You know, I doubt that I would have continued in October with Anthony. you know, it was very convenient when he got fired, and then it was like, oh, okay, well, here's my opportunity to, you know, move on from this. Yeah, absolutely. We all have opportunities in life. Yeah, absolutely. But I didn't force him out. I didn't push him out. All I did was try to, you know, keep him here, and then we could figure out what is next. And that was more for the brand than anything else, because the Opie and Anthony brand, once again, was fucking huge. Huge. And if I could do a show, and if he could do a show, that would keep the fans fucking happy. That would have been the best scenario. But I did try to save your job, Anthony. Period. I sleep very well at night knowing that I did the right thing. And whatever's really bothering you, I really would suggest you really start looking into it. I mean, to just take shots at me and no one else around here, you know, I don't get it. So that's it. I'm moving on. Have been moving on. It's been a wonderful 9 months. It also was, you know, as far as what we accomplished as a radio show, it was amazing. I wish we got along better through the process. I really do. But we didn't. I don't know how we were able to accomplish all that without having an actual relationship off the air. But we did. So just do your show, man. Very talented. Very funny. Just do your show. I'll do mine. I got your message loud and clear yesterday, trust me. Loud and clear. I'm happy that it's finally out in the open, because it felt really kind of weird that I couldn't really openly really express the fact that I knew you fucking hated me. But now at least everyone knows. Len wants credit for the opening song. He suggested you're my best friend. There you go, Len. There's your credit. All right. If anyone wants to add anything, that's great. But if not, we can move on.
I would be interested to hear both of you do a show. No, not even together.
Right.
Where each one of you talks about is what you did. Not you, Opie. But I would love to hear Anthony do a show talking only about his side of what he did wrong.
Right.
And I would love to hear you do a show only with your side of what's wrong.
Right.
Because watching two people just say their side of it, and no one saying, okay, this is really where I fucked up. It's really hard to do that. It's really fucking hard to sit there and go, this is how I'm fucked up. And I'm not saying I'm great at it either. It's very, very difficult to do. But I guess because I know almost every part of this from both angles, I would much rather hear that from both people.
Right. Well, unfortunately, that's not happening.
I know it's not.
You know, he went to a place yesterday I never thought he would go to be honest with you. I mean, that obviously was years and years of frustration. I get it. I do get why it happened, but I did give him opportunities to just sit down and fucking talk. I would have loved if we sat down and just yelled in my face for 2 hours. That would have been wonderful. That would have been fine. That would have been fine. You know, I don't really think, I don't think I deserved, and I don't think we deserved what he did yesterday. Meaning the Opie and Anthony brand. I think we both of us deserve better to really try to air some of that shit out behind the scenes. And I didn't take his bait. I'm like, I'm not going on your show, because I really did feel like it was some kind of a radio bit. What, you know, two guys that had known each other for 20 years are now going to fucking yell and scream at each other on a radio show. Trust me, we've done it in the past, and trust me, people love it when it goes down. But I just felt like this is, you know, something that really probably should have been taken care of behind the scenes. Sorry, but that's what I thought. So, do wish you the best, Anthony. In the end, I wish you nothing but the best. I don't really like you. That is a fact. I don't like you. And I'm not going to sit here and make believe I do. But I wish nothing but the best. I really do. I have taken responsibility over the years. Maybe needed to take more. That's fine. But You know. And you got fired. You put a lot of people's fucking livelihood on the line. And you were unfairly fired. Yes, you were. But there was a lot of moving parts leading up to your firing, and you know that. Plus the fucking culture we were involved in, where everyone was getting fired for the most ridiculous shit. We were doing a bit about it every day. The apology and who's getting fired for this and that. I just wonder somewhere in your head if you realized that those tweets could have been a problem. I wonder. If at any moment you were thinking, wow, man, with the culture that we're in, the bits we're doing on the actual radio show, could this be twisted in a way that could fuck me? But with that said, I'll stand by it. I don't think you should have been fired for it. You're absolutely right. So I hope everyone just moves on. You know, if you gotta hate me and continue with your shitty tweets and your you know, and your lies to my family, whatever. What am I gonna do? Me and my family knows what the truth is. If anyone has anything, they could speak up. If not, I'm just gonna move on.
What's there to say? I mean,
I love doing radio. I love doing it with Jimmy. We're having a good run. You know, what the future holds is whatever. That's fine. But I'm liking the direction we're going in, and I really like being in here every day more than I have in many, many years. And that's what I'm going to continue doing because I love doing this. I hope I said everything. I'm trying to remember everything that needed to be said because I really want to just move on. All right. Got Mike Rowan today. Talk about other stuff. Finally shut Sam up. That's good. Kind of sick of your nonsense anyway. A little nervous over there, buddy.
I'm okay.
You don't want to add anything? Eric, do you want to add anything?
Okay, if you're asking.
Mm-hmm.
When all this happened back in July, and I am aware of what everyone around here tried to do involving the firing, and everyone did try to the best of their abilities to prevent it from happening. But when it was going down, do you think a lot of this nonsense that's going on right now could have been diffused had you guys talked at that point? Like right after the firing, I know he was upset, but given in a couple of days, had you two just kind of forced the issue and said, we need to talk about this, do you think this kind of would have been diffused and would have not have gotten to this level?
Absolutely. The fact is, me and Anthony had, I think, a 10-minute conversation after he got fired. That was it. I know the exact place I was at. We talked for 10 minutes. It was like the lamest conversation we've ever had. It was kind of sad, to be honest with you. Coming from both of us, I swear I'm not trying to make it him versus me. It was just a shitty conversation. There was no energy behind it. I felt really bad for him. I told him how crazy he was. I told him that they probably, we'll see how ridiculous this is. And then we never talked again. We just never talked again. There was a couple text messages here and there. There was an invite to go on his show. And I felt like I did not feel comfortable going and doing his radio show, period. I just did not. Because of pretty much everything I just said for the last hour. But yeah, if we talked then, yeah, it probably would have diffused a lot. It got to a point, I can only speak for myself, I did not know how to talk to the guy anymore. I just did not know how. That's on me. I did not know how.
I said from the beginning I thought you should have gone on. And the reason was because it wouldn't have been a fight. I don't think that it would have been, fuck you, your fault. But I felt like the fans all of a sudden see this happen. And he's the guy that lost the gig. Even though I know he sent out some stupid tweets and that's, a maniac. But he shouldn't have been fired. It was unfair. Right. It was unfair to him, and it was unfair to the show, and it was unfair to the fans that they fired him.
It was unfair for everybody.
It was unfair.
Including comics who are bummed out that the whole brand has gone away. It was unfair. We're all in agreement there.
But the reason I think that you going on his show would have been a very vocal show of support publicly, not for your personal shit. Like, I know all the personal stuff behind the scenes. I understand why you're upset about not getting a wedding, of course. And I understand why he's mad about, like, I get it. But that to me would have been a very good, not a lie to the fans, because if you guys talk things through the way you're talking now, or the way he spoke, yes, you guys might have wound up talking that stuff through on the air. Without it being a radio bit, without just being two guys who did radio for many, many years,
right,
who done honest radio, and had an issue with each other. It didn't have to degenerate to fuck you, you're a cocksucker. And I think the only reason I'm saying you should have gone on his show is it's not like you invited him on and he said, fuck you, I'm not going. That just wasn't a possibility. If it was a possibility for him to come on this show and you guys talk it out, then I would say, yeah, they should have done that. But
right.
not just because the company won't let him in the fucking building. That was not a feasible possibility.
Right.
And I called in the first day. And I'm not saying I think you should have done the same thing. And I think that personal stuff, a lot of it might have been taken care of with you guys. Because, again, even though I know why you're both upset with each other, that was in a professional way. They fucking gutted the show. You know what I mean? And they did that.
Right.
I'm not saying he had no responsibility in that. I'm not saying he played it smart.
Right.
But that, to me, I think the entire show should have showed him at least the support of going on his show.
Yeah, I agree with you. I did not know how to do that. I did not know what I would have said if I even called in, because I knew it. I couldn't fake it anymore. I also know going into that house is not good for me, because I know a lot of people that are around Anthony, despise me as well. And it truly felt like enemy territory, right or wrong. That's how I feel. I actually thought about calling in to his show just to try to keep the peace. I did not know what to say. Did not know, because of everything I've just said in the last hour and whatever. But you're right. You're absolutely right. That would have solved a lot of this. It would have kept everyone fucking calm, because then it starts boiling inside you. Why isn't he supporting me? But it's like you kind of, I did support you from a distance. I mentioned his show way more than he ever mentioned us moving on together. There was no guarantee that me and you were going to, survive this. But when we had the chance, we promoted his show, AnthonyCumia.com. I continued to do it. It wasn't the greatest plugs. It wasn't rah, let's do this. But I certainly, when I could, I did. Sorry I didn't have more energy behind it, or sorry I didn't spend more time on it. But there were times I was like, yeah, make sure you check him out. AnthonyCumia.com. But you make a great point. But I did not know how to do that. I did not know how, what I would have said if I even, got on the phone.
Even you saying I'm in enemy territory, if you're sitting there talking, because you know the guy well enough to know Anthony is not going to attack you on his show. It never would happen. I mean, you guys might have discussed things. He wouldn't have come after you.
Right.
He wouldn't have done it. He would have been happy that you showed up. He would have actually. He knew the company fired him.
Right.
He would have been happy that you came out and saw him.
Yeah. I get. All right. I guess. I have to believe you. But I did not feel comfortable to do that.
Honestly, he didn't say I would have been happy. I'm just going by what I know about both of you. He didn't say to me, I would have been happy if you came. Like, I'm just, right. That's my judgment on it from watching both of you from the outside.
You're pretty on point when it comes down to it. You're pretty blunt about things, I do listen to you. I believe that would have helped tremendously. I just, did not know how to do that. Just didn't. You know. But Eric, you're right. That would have helped a lot.
I think he was. I'm not defending him, but I think it's possible his mindset on this would have been, you guys had a history of dealing with things on the air. And he probably was still thinking that this would be the best way to sort things out. I understand you wanted to do it behind the scenes first and talk some things. You're both right on both points, but I think on his side, he might be just looking at it as like, this is how we've always done things. This is how we should handle this, whether it's right or wrong.
And all those years of personal stuff deep down, that's not going to be undone with one phone call.
Oh, of course not.
So that's why the on-air thing, it should have been an active show of support. I think because people, you know, when people started saying stand with Ant against the company, I mean, a lot of them said shit about me that I didn't like, but I got it. You know what I mean? I do understand why a lot of them think that I should have walked. Right. Or you should have walked. I know why they say that.
Right.
And, you know, I know why I didn't. But all you guys who used to like me and now hate my guts or never really liked me and now, I kind of get that and I accept it. It is what it is. But I think that, you know, it's one of those things, man, because he was the guy that lost the gig, it was a different mindset. It was like, it wasn't like all of us got fired and then you and I went somewhere and Ant went somewhere and one of us wasn't promoted. That would have been a totally different thing. But because he got just yanked out in the middle, and I understood Sirius being pissed and going, hey, Ant, what the fuck? But I thought that to fire this guy through an email, you know, it just was, whatever. It was just, to me, it was just not at all a good thing. It was just terrible.
It was bad business. Why?
It was unfair.
Why did you stay?
Because I love performing, to be honest with you. It was a very weird position to be in. I love performing. I love talking on the radio. I genuinely love this job. I love interviewing people when they come in. I love being funny or trying to be funny. And the idea of two things. I mean, working for this company after that was difficult. They gave me a raise, but they gave me, I'll be very honest, I'm not going to tell you the exact, they gave me 10% more than they had on my previous raises. That was the percentage I got. I didn't get a gigantic jump in my money. I would get a percentage, usually 20% raise every couple of years, which is nice. And they gave me 10% more than that. The idea of driving to Long Island was really, I've done it a couple times. The idea of doing an hour and 15-minute drive each way, that's almost 3 hours of commuting a day in the afternoon. A part of me likes the structure of the mornings. I know people, it sounds like a bullshit excuse, but I'm a fucking, you know, left to my own devices. I'm up 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm online, and I'm doing a lot of shit that I shouldn't be doing. The idea of waking up in the morning and having a place to come gives me some kind of structure which has enabled me to live like a person. And I know that, again, to a lot of you that might sound crazy, but I know how I am when I'm fucking loose. So that was a part of it. But the company was very difficult it was difficult. And if Ant was set up in the city, it would have been a much harder decision because coming here and going, hey, thanks, Scott, I can't, you know, I don't even hate Greenstein anymore. I did for a long time, but it's like, he doesn't, I know he doesn't give a fuck if I'm here or not. Like, I know he's paying me, whatever. But it was a hard decision. You know what I mean? It was, and it wasn't about Greg Hughes against Anthony Cumia. That wasn't the decision. It was, do I come to this place that's done something I disagree with so strongly? And I was very angry at myself sometimes. Like, you should have fucking walked. Like, just to be a man and fucking stand for something.
Right.
And then the other part of me was, I did consider it, and I know why I didn't. And it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm going to collapse. It was a frustrating idea to have to go out to Long. And I didn't even know if Ant, to be honest with you, was 100% going to do it. I kind of felt he would, but you know, I was like, what if he gets sick of it? Or what if, and I've told this to Anthony, what if the company says, we fucked up, come on back? They're not going to say, Jim, you come back too. If we're here and there's a structure here, there's his seat. And I kind of felt like there's a seat for Anthony to come back to. And this will blow over, and this will kind of pass, you know, because it was like, well, we'll give it some time, and hopefully he'll come back. So it didn't seem like it was out of the realm of possibility for Anthony to come back.
Right.
And then as time goes on, it realizes it is probably out of the realm of possibility for it to come back. And it just gets, you know, very frustrating just to keep looking at that empty seat.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised the company hires him back someday. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest with you, you know. Yeah, I know what me and you talked when we were trying to figure shit out because we were thrown into the middle of this going, what the fuck do we do? I remember, me and you talking, and we were in agreement that, look, we continue. And I remember something you said, look, he would continue. He would continue if you were fired. You told me that.
Yeah.
He would continue. And I know that.
He told me that. And Anthony knows that.
And Anthony knows that.
Yes.
So now to, spin it that we're the bad guys in this, you know damn well you would have continued. And then some of the early shows, he gave his blessing to us continuing.
I don't think, and again, I don't like speaking for him, and I don't want it to be like I am now the Anthony Cumia face debating his issues. I don't want to misspeak for Ant.
Right.
But I don't think he ever begrudged us for continuing. Ever. I think he totally gets. I called him the night before we signed. I did. I said, I'm going to sign. And he goes, I got it too. He goes, I absolutely would do the same thing. And I know he meant it. So I don't think that's what it's about. I think he understands that. He fucking makes money. He knows that.
Right.
It's a business. It's like you got to make your living, man. It's like, it's a job. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that we re-signed. I think he also knows that maybe if we re-signed, there's still a seat here. I think it's the fact that, and again, I think he feels there was a lack of support. And I think that there should have been a tidal wave of support coming from us, a tidal wave. And I mean, a nonstop listen to his show. You know what I mean? Not just saying it, but I mean really fucking meaning it and really being a part of it and showing this company that, look, man, we know the guy fucked up and maybe he's not the perfect person and he says a dumb shit once in a while, but he's a big part of the fabric of what makes this show. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like he's a funny cocksucker, man. And I'm saying that like flippantly, but he's a funny motherfucker.
Absolutely. We'll never deny that.
And brilliant.
Right. A mistake I made when I told him I was meeting with the bosses way back in the July, early August area. And then the mistake I made, I did text him to say I was continuing. And, he was owed a phone call. But I swear, I got to a point in my life, I did not know how to fucking call him anymore. Yeah. I just did not know. And that is on me, yes. But I did not know how to do it anymore. So I apologize for that as well. You were owed a phone call, me saying, yeah, I'm moving on.
A couple of things that stuck out. Number one, in terms of the staff, I think the issue between you and Ann is more personal than anything else. But in terms of the staff, any uncomfortableness or whatever that you being a boss in the room caused anybody on staff is so outweighed by the fact that without you being the boss and without you taking that attitude and going down the hallway, me, Mars, Troy, Eric, Roland, none of us would be in the jobs that we're in. None of us would be making the money that we're making. So, the benefit to you and the things that you've done to stick up for us behind the scenes way outweighs any sort of weirdness that's happened because of it. And I also think, if I can make a judgment on you and Ant's thing, that as much as it's a humiliating and hurtful thing for you to have made fun of his girlfriend years ago, it's also a hurtful, uncomfortable, how do you continue thing when you realize that your creative partner in the room with you is talking about you behind your back via a text that was sent by mistake.
Yeah,
so I think that's one of those sort of
I understand why you'd say that, and I do know what you say that. But
I guess, sorry, Jimmy. We were both talking behind each other's backs. I'm guilty of it too. Anthony was talking shit about me to whoever would listen, and I certainly did the same thing. That's not a one-way street, not at all. You said something there. I got to defend slightly. I didn't openly make fun of his girlfriend. I was frustrated by her being around a lot, and that's on me as well, because I was frustrated that we no longer had the back and forth chemistry of working on the radio show, and I took it out on her, and that is fucking wrong. And I did apologize to him about that years ago. If it wasn't good enough, that's fine, and I understand that. Okay, I do understand that. But when me and Anthony started doing radio, we couldn't get enough of each other. After radio shows, we would call each other, and And we would, talk about the show for hours. And the fact is, I did, love doing the show with him. And when that, relationship changed in '99, I never got over it. And yeah, I took it out on his, girlfriend. And that was wrong. But we stopped, creating together more or less in 1999, 2000. And part of me never got over that. I also know that I fought for every fucking person here, even people that have left and hate my fucking guts. I would fight for every fucking person. And, then they had to move on and fucking badmouth me and trash me, whatever. But I could sleep at night knowing that I fought for these people. I remember being yelled at by Greenstein. You can't save this fucking person. They would be so mad at some of the things that went down. But I still went down the hall and gave it a shot. I gave it a shot with Ant. I didn't have it all. I didn't give it my all, but I certainly did. Certainly, gave it a shot. It's really sad what happened. But I've been getting beat up for the last 9 months, and undeservedly. Not to the extent. Should never got the extent of the fucking bullshit that I've gotten since July. Just should not have gotten it. Period. If you got to continue doing it, so be it. So be it. And to the level that people take it is just ridiculous. Thank you, Sam. This was never easy for me and Jimmy. It was never easy for us to just move on, trust me. And then there's guilt associated with it because we're actually having a good time in here without the third guy. I told Jimmy I never expected me and Jimmy to be the ones moving on. I thought we had okay chemistry. I mean, me and Ann had amazing chemistry, at the height of our careers. Me and Jimmy have worked on our chemistry. It's gotten way better. And I hope you know it, Jimmy. I like doing radio with you, man.
I do too. And what I'm saying today is not a reflection, not liking to do a radio with you.
Oh, no, I'm not mad about anything you've said. Not at all. I think you've been open and honest. I'm not mad at it in the least.
No, I know. I'm just saying I miss my friend, but it's not I don't enjoy doing the gig. I mean, I love just doing this,
right.
even this depressing whatever. I still like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're the one in the weird position because I know how I feel now, and I know it is what it is with me. I know I can't do radio with the guy anytime soon. So.
And you are the guy who got me my money. I mean, I'm not gonna. That is a good point. I mean, and again, I don't even like saying that because then it sounds like you're pitting Opie against Anthony. But you know, Ant was really great for certain things. But as far as getting the stuff like the money and the contract, that was something that you got me. You got them to double it. You know, I'm not saying he had nothing to do with it, but that was more you, and I'm sure he would admit that. Well, that was you.
Well, but it goes to the point that I mean, if. You know, a lot of the stuff I did for the Opie and Anthony brand, it was boring as fuck. That's where my skills really fucking shined. You know, and it's not a shot at Anthony that, you know, I took care of your money more than him. It's not a shot at him. You know, he did a lot for this brand, obviously, as well. I did a lot of the boring shit behind the scenes. And if the staff really thought that I was possibly leaving... You know, when I swear to you, I was bluffing. It's the dumbest, oldest fucking radio bit ever to threaten to leave. But if anyone on staff really believed that I was, I apologize. I probably should have kept you more in the loop. Fucking Bob knew. Ant swears he didn't know. Okay, like I said, that's his point of view. I didn't talk to him about it, so if he believes that, he believes it. But Bob certainly knew, and we have the same agent. But if anyone thought that I was going to, like, jeopardize their fucking livelihood and their careers, I'm sorry. But I knew exactly what I was doing with these negotiations over the years. I knew our worth. I knew they weren't going to fucking say, oh, go fuck, you know, you want how much more? Go fuck yourselves. You know, negotiations get ugly. It goes down to the fucking wire, too. I signed a contract in studio. I had to sign a contract in studio to go on the air, one of the deals. That's probably the one Ant's talking about. He looked at me and said, look, I signed last night. I don't know what, you know, so it's up to you, whatever you're going to do. And I wasn't allowed to go on the air unless I signed the fucking contract. And I was so mad that I signed that contract because even though I make a good living, a great living, doing what I love, I felt like we could have got even more money. But that's where I sat. So I signed the contract. I was really mad because I was ready to go another week or two because I knew they weren't going to just, you know, sign this or fucking leave. They weren't going to give me that option. Because I knew our worth. I knew it. I knew, you know, they needed us, you know, back then. And they need this show too. They needed the Opie and Anthony brand. They needed me and Jimmy. Period. They just do. I knew they weren't going to kick us out the door. I'm sorry if Ann really thought that because there wasn't a doubt in my mind that they were going to say go fuck yourselves because you know the negotiation really got intense and ugly. But I also knew we were worth way more fucking money, and the more money we got for ourselves meant more money for the staff. It just trickles down. All right. So that's that. Do what you gotta do on the fucking social media. Have fun. I know what's real and what's not. All right. Hope Ant does well for himself. I really do. Don't like you. I'm not gonna sit here and make believe I do. I don't like you. And it's a shame because I know what we used to have. But I just wish, you know, you could just fucking move on. And then maybe down the road someday something clicks and we could at least talk, maybe. But I don't even see that happening anytime soon. I'm proud of what we did together. I know what I did. I know what you did. I know what we did together. If you want to spin it another way, whatever, that's fine. Whatever. But I'm not the problem. I said in a tweet yesterday, I'm not the problem. I think there's other shit eating away at you. And to blame me is just not fair. In the end, it's just not fair. All right. And think we said it. I didn't even want to do this. I just want to fucking move on. It's healthy for everybody. Just fucking move on for now. Now we got to do a radio show? Really? Put on our laughing hats? What do we do?
Mike Rowe's coming in.
I've been doing this since I was 18. What do we do next? We fucking goof around? Really?
Well, people can call in.
All right.
I mean, it's a big thing. Mm-hmm. You know, for you and for him, it's a big thing, man.
Right.
Listeners are very, very, very... It's like people come up to me at shows. I mean, I have the advantage neither one of you guys has. I fucking deal with them live.
Right.
And, you know, they all come up, and a lot of times they'll be like, they're bummed about what happened. You know what I mean? It's this, man, you know, it's like, I fucking hate to see it. That's the primary...
Yeah, it sucks.
...thing.
I gotta tell you, I mean, you know, people have been really cool to me in public, and they say the right thing because they understood what all this was over the years. They're like, really bum, Ant's gone. You and Jimmy, though, are doing great. I know Ant's doing great. I subscribe to him as well, and it's too bad, you know, what happened. This is what I get more than anything, but I understand, you know, and I listen to both shows, and I'm like, that's perfect. Perfect. I'm not gonna sit here and fucking say don't listen to Anthony. The fuck no. Just not gonna do that. I know the lives we got because we met way back in 1994. I know the lives we got. I live very, very well. So does he. So does he. It's ridiculous that, you know, it got this petty and stupid. It's ridiculous on both sides. It's ridiculous. We got extremely good lives because we met back in the day. Jimmy's got a better life. Everyone around here has a better life. So it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I've always given credit for my better life too. You know what I mean? I've always, believe me, I fucking associated myself with you two pariahs, much to my fucking detriment.
Now you're obviously extremely talented on your own, but it didn't hurt that we all got together. You know? All right, we'll figure out something next. Thanks for listening.
We'll be back with more of Opie and Jim's Best of the Week. We now return to Opie and Jim's Best of the Week.
Apple friends.
Mike Rowe coming into the studio. Good old Mike Rowe.
Oh, my God.
We don't owe you any alcohol or anything, do we? No apologies needed. We're good, right?
It's a matter of coffee.
You just need coffee and that's it. I already talked to Mike for like 15 minutes now, so
and it was good.
We probably should save that for the air.
It was good, man. I mean, honestly, I can't recall a better conversation.
There were laughs.
Oh my God.
There was intrigue.
It was that high pitched laughter too that sometimes happens that we don't like to admit.
No,
it just gets away from us.
I continue to be a huge fan of Mike Rowe. Huge, even though I know you.
That's nice of you to say. Thanks.
I remember the days of the walkover.
Yes.
You would walk from one show to the other. Now look at you on CNN.
And I remember thinking after the first time that happened that these guys are either completely making it up as they go, or they're in on some sort of joke, or I'm looking around for the camera, fairly certain that my friends have orchestrated this really elaborate punk. Because why am I in the middle of 6th Avenue?
Right.
In the middle of an interview.
We absolutely made up the show as we went.
Yeah.
For years.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But it worked.
It is, but look, you know your viewers probably better than your bosses do, and maybe anybody else. And I mean, viewers are different from show to show, but you know they can all smell a rat.
Right.
They all know when they're hearing something that was focus grouped, or tested, or researched. You know, they know the difference between a promo and a story and a reminiscence.
I said earlier, it was just that me and Ant just did not talk when we were not on the air. So, yeah. But I guess it worked to our favor in a weird way because it was way more natural.
Well, you know, the word everybody uses, and is probably overused at this point, but it's authenticity, right? Mm-hmm. Like to be authentic today, if you really and truly are, you can probably do just about anything you want. But you're not necessarily going to be liked, and you're not necessarily going to be correct about things. You know, it's like I just read, Jon Stewart for like 10 years now is every single year rated as more trusted than every major news anchor. And it's not because he's more accurate, and it's not because he's less biased, certainly. It's because his viewers really, truly don't believe that he's selling them a line of goods.
Right.
He's authentically him.
Right.
Simon Cowell, same thing, right? He was a prick. Everybody hated him. But we loved him because he told the truth.
Yes, I loved hating him. Yeah. It was fun to hate him.
Yeah.
I loved Piers Morgan because of that.
Sure.
He's grown on me a lot, Piers Morgan.
Piers?
He really has grown on me. I like him a lot now. I didn't like him for a long time, and then we interviewed him, and I'm like, I really like him.
I kind of like that he gets under people's skin, though.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
Yeah. No, he truly doesn't.
And he gets right in there and he battles with the haters, and he just fucking gets his hands dirty, man.
The strange thing about Pierce, I did a show a couple of times, and
we can't talk about Pierce. He's on your network.
I think he was at one point.
Are you allowed? No, I know. Are you allowed to talk about him, though?
I don't know, but I mean, why not? I'm trying to be authentic and whatnot.
I'm kidding.
No, you're in a small studio, and you're having a very robust conversation, and there are 5 or 6 people in the studio all operating something, and you're right in the middle of it, and it's time to go to a break, so we go to the break, and when we come back, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then for 3.5 minutes, silence.
Yes, they just sit there.
Just silence. I mean, and...
You witnessed this?
I participated in it.
Oh, funny.
I mean, I was like, so Pierce, and he's kind of held up his hand. He wasn't being rude. He was very focused though on something. And he had a phone in one hand and he had a computer thing in the other. And he's basically trying to stay ahead of the show a little bit. But there's a very specific kind of silence that happens when you're in a studio like this, and all of a sudden it gets quiet.
Right.
It's hyper quiet. And it's a little spooky.
It's uncomfortable, right?
It's weird, man.
You feel like something's wrong, or somebody's screwed up, or like, oh, this is not a good. Sometimes guys just don't want to talk to you off air because they don't want you to say something interesting that should be on air.
Yeah.
Once in a while, you get a great thing, and it's like there's no way to recapture it. And it's like, fuck, why didn't we just talk about this on the air? Because that's
Yeah, I didn't even want to have that conversation outside the studio, but I haven't seen you in a while, and I consider you a friend.
But I've already forgotten what it was, so if you want to do it again.
It was all nonsense. I mean, you're at CNN, you're doing well,
right?
But I think you said something like it's a little frustrating because you're competing with the world and world news.
Well, right. Like for the last 15 years, everybody says, how's the show doing? And you immediately have a conversation about your date and time. Right. So, we're on Thursdays, so we're competing with friends. So that's tough. Yeah. We're on Sundays, so you got the NFL. That's a pain in the ass. On CNN, if you're a lighthearted show, you're not competing with anything. You're competing with everything.
Right.
You're literally competing with ISIS and missing planes and Ebola. You're competing with Cuba getting its freedom. You're competing with the stock market that went up, or maybe it went down.
Right.
You're competing with an election or a crooked politician or a controversial Supreme Court appointment, and it never stops.
How many times have they pushed your show to the side because they had to do the breaking news on the plane crash or the ISIS story? Or
I don't have the data, and I'm probably not authorized to really hit you with this kind of statistical truth. But I will tell you, according to my own my own computations, we have set a world record in the history of preemptions in the first season of an original series, which, as you know, is a big deal, a ton of promotion, everything else. 40%.
40% cancellation?
40%,
whatever.
40% of the new episodes coincided on a Wednesday night with the end of the world or some version of it.
I remember a couple times tuning in, and you're not there because they love plane crashes. I'm like, give Mike Rowe his hour, then you could go back to the flight simulator.
Exactly. Why not? We could bring up a plane crash, watch a train wreck, and then go back to the plane crash.
But see, here's the trick. I mean, honestly, and again, I'm way beyond my pay grade here. But if you've got a big brain and you're looking at programming issues, right, and if you're a 24-hour news network, you take the long view and you say, 90% of the year, we're spending time not really covering breaking news, but analyzing a thing that everybody's already familiar with.
Right.
And into that space, we have the freedom to do all sorts of things. Now, 10% of the time, roughly, the news is breaking, and that's when we must be there.
Right.
But 90% of the time, surely there's room for a lighthearted show. And I still believe there is, and I think everybody else does too. You just don't know when that 90% of the time is.
Right.
And honestly, in the last 6 months, it hasn't been 90.
But then that extends your season, doesn't it, though, a little bit? Like, they're just going to they're going to show the episodes, didn't they?
Eventually, everybody will see everything.
Yeah.
But it just messes with that world, that kind of programming, that metric. I don't understand how it works, but it's I get letters every day from people who tape my show and tune in, and there's some bad news to report.
Right, it's like, oh, crap, again. And your fans are hardcore, man. They love you.
Oh my God,
they're really into Mike Rowe.
It's very flattering, and
it's got to be nerve-wracking because you're wondering, well, maybe they're going to, second guess having some lighthearted programming. I think it was a smart move actually to bring you on and Anthony Bourdain and stuff like that, just to mix it up.
Yeah, and it's definitely working. It's just tricky because, again, fundamentally, it's lighthearted versus the news of the day. And that just means it's really, I don't want to come crashing in to the middle of coverage of the Boston bombing or a missing plane, because the people who are watching the network right then, they want the news.
But a lot of it is they just go and say the same thing over and over.
Can't speak to that, Opie. No idea what you're talking about.
Okay, you can stay out of this, but I'm an observer here. And it's just like, all right, I get the story, the news cycle, and there's nothing new right now, but they'll keep spinning it and spinning it and spinning it. And they obviously know what they're doing because they know how to keep the viewers going. But I'm sitting there going, put Mike Rowe's fucking show on.
Well, there's a fine line, and I don't know. I guess you're crossing in relative terms. But did you see Saturday Night Live this week?
You asked me outside. No.
Oh my God,
I missed it.
No.
Nobody saw it?
They made fun of the whole CNN plane crash thing?
No, it wasn't that. In fact, to me, it wasn't just it all took place at CNN, but it was really a commentary on the drilling down into the minutia of a thing, right? And it's just hysterical. But it basically starts with a conversation about, the cockpit door and the lock on it.
Right.
And to discuss the cockpit door on the lot, they've gone to animation. And the animation looks like it was cobbled together by a small, disturbed child, with Photoshop, version 1.
Yeah.
And it's funny. All right, but they're talking very seriously about what a doorknob is and how it turns, right? Yeah. And then, of course, there's some coverage brought to life with puppets, and I mean, and world figures are now portrayed as puppets, and analysts are brought in to, look at the puppet behavior. And I'm telling you, it's when satire's good, it's the stuff that keeps you sane.
Absolutely. I'm gonna have to check it out after the show today. We have it on our screen, but
there you go.
Is it worth playing real fun? Nah. No, okay.
I mean, it's very funny, but I think between the three of us,
we can handle this.
I think we can even be more amusing.
Yeah, there it is. All right, now I'm distracted by that, Sam.
Yeah.
So I asked you this outside the studio too. That's your real parents in the promos.
Oh yeah.
Because sometimes you don't know if they cast the. He's knocking on his parents' doors and stuff, and trying to promote his show. And
the shtick is this season. The show did well, but by and large, nobody knows him on CNN, so I'm spreading the word. So I go back, just walking down the street, talking to people. And then a series of vignettes unfold in my parents' home that really weren't scripted either. These are actual conversations that have happened over the years between, my mom and dad and I.
Right.
The invitation to move home. You see, because they put the show on Wednesday night. I'm not there. All right, I've been preempted. They're pretty sure I've been fired. Mom wants me to know the bedroom is just the way I left it, and my dad wants me to know I got to pull my own weight, and the backyard's not going to cut itself, and and it's all this stuff actually happened. So CNN was very, very cool. They were like, look, just go and shoot your life with your real parents, and we shot for about 5 or 6 hours. And I just talked to them yesterday, and I said we have more. We have more great footage than we know what to do with, which is a nice way of saying if your show were half as good as these freaking promos, we'd all be.
Right. We wouldn't have to worry about the promos.
So far, they fired you and hired them.
Exactly.
I mean, you've been in the same business as us, sort of, over the years. Mm-hmm. Now, your parents, were they always supportive? Did they talk about how you have to get something to fall back on, and they just thought maybe this was a little hobby you had, and eventually you will be home doing a real job, living in their house?
Yeah.
How did all that go?
I think they were scared. I mean, they had 3 sons. I was the oldest, and they both taught public school. And my brothers and I are all different from one another radically, you know. And so I think from their perspective, they probably looked at their spawn and just was like, good God, you know, please, somebody, something. How's this going to work? Because we all went in totally different directions.
Right.
So, you know, the honest answer is they were very, very encouraging. They said, look, we don't care what you attempt, but don't half-ass it.
Right.
You know, and so I got started in high school. You know, I wanted to be a carpenter, but had no skills. And
that's somewhere along the way, did you decide maybe I need skills and not to just want to do this?
I had a lot of pressure. My grandfather, who lived next door to us, built the house I was born in without a blueprint.
Wow.
8th grade education, master carpenter, plumber, steam fitter, pipe fitter, electrician, welder, and mechanic.
Wow.
You know this guy. I mean, everybody has somebody in their family who just got the chip.
Right.
What's that? He's just born knowing. And I was so impressed by it and so convinced that was the thing to do. And he was very supportive, and my folks were supportive. And even as I failed out of wood shop, metal shop, even as I failed out of carpentry, I mean, everything. It was just a disaster. And the old man finally one day said, look, you know, I get it. You want to be a tradesman, but you don't need to be a classically trained construction guy to wear that title. Just get a different toolbox.
Right.
And so I went to a community college and started studying voice.
Nice.
And I was in plays after that, and that opened the whole crazy world. And so, yeah, my folks, they saw me wandering in the desert for a while.
Right.
But I remember my father heard me on the radio one day. It was years ago, right when Domino's was starting. And one of my first voiceover commercials was for Domino's Pizza. And you'll love this story. The short version was I was working in a jingle house. The client said, hey, here's $200. We need a scratch track. We're not sure the client's going to like it. And he gave me the copy, and it was when it's got to be deep and it's got to be thick. It's got to be Domino's, right?
Right.
It was their deep dish pizza.
Right.
And he said, just say it like, you know, like it's kind of dirty and make it sexy, even though it's pizza. So I said, when it's got to be deep and it's got to be thick, it's got to be Domino's. And they're like, oh, look, good for you. So they gave me $200. I went to Australia as planned, came back 2 weeks later, and had like $28,000 in residual checks in my mailbox. The spot aired, and they used me. And so that's a long way of saying my dad heard me talk about Domino's Pizza, said, how's it going?
Right.
I gave him the paychecks. He said, the boy's going to be okay.
Wow. Yeah, you do have the gift, the voice.
And of course, deep dish pizza is something I now enjoy every day.
Yeah, good. My dad was fully supportive. You know, my dream was to be on the radio from a very young age. And my mom, not so much, always like, well, you should always have something to fall back on. I don't really believe in that, though. I think if you have something to fall back on, you don't really give it your all. And if you do end up failing and you don't get to the place you want to be, there's always other shit you could do, was always my thought. But to actually focus on something to fall back on as I'm trying to completely focus on doing radio, I didn't really understand that. I know she was looking out for me, but...
No safety net, I agree.
Right?
No safety net.
Well, you want the... there's a physicist who talked about that, Heisenberg, right? The uncertainty principle.
Yeah.
The act of seeing a thing changes the thing.
Right.
Right? It's a observational impact. So a safety net is a great example if you can see it. So how do you behave on the high wire when you know there's a safety net?
Right.
How do you behave when you know there's not? And how do you behave when you think there's not, but there actually is?
Wow.
Moreover, how does that inform the audience's experience? If I know there's a safety net, you know, but you don't, I watch the experience totally differently. If I do know there's a safety net and you do as well, then that's one step away from boredom, actually.
When I go to the circus, I completely agree with you. As soon as I see there's a safety net, I'm bored out of my mind. I'm like, who gives a fuck?
Right.
But if I was up there, I'd want a safety net, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take that chance.
Well, why do you think Deadliest Catch is still on? I mean, season 11.
No safety net.
You can't script the Bering Sea.
Right. That is probably the craziest show as far as reality shows go. That is nuts what they go through.
There's a huge pressure right now in my industry, in the nonfiction industry, to and there always has been, to eliminate and mitigate risk. I mean, there's a huge pressure in the country to do the same thing. We've made everything that we do as safe as it can possibly be. And of course, that's nice. We all want to come home and survive the day, but there are unintended consequences to everything.
Sure.
And when you take the danger out of a job, once upon a time, like 100 years ago, danger was one of the things you got paid to assume. It's the reason you could get rich doing a thing. And so much of that's been removed. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's happened. And so I believe that's why so many shows that put you in those worlds where you don't see the safety net.
Right.
That's why people watch.
Of course. As far as somebody's got to do it, have they ever told you you can't do a certain thing?
Yeah, actually.
You got a story?
Yeah, well, I mean, the stories are boring because it's just now we're in a world of compliance. You know? And of course, the irony is just because you're in compliance doesn't mean you're out of danger. 10 years ago in the Atchafalaya swamp, I could have grabbed the alligator farmer who happened to have a helicopter, and we could have jumped in the helicopter, which we did, and fly 30 feet over the swamp with harpoons that had radio trackers on them, identify the alligator nests, and then go back in an airboat, find the nests based off the EPIRB reading, and then hike out through the marsh, dodge the alligators, and get the eggs. This is a very exciting bit of television and a pretty good story. That story doesn't happen today. No way, no how. Can't do it. Can't do it.
Why? Because of the animals or because of the danger to you?
Both, but mostly, both those things can be handled. What can't be handled is the compliance on the helicopter. Can't handle it.
Really?
Nobody's going to take a chance from an insurance standpoint until or unless everybody signs everything.
Right.
It doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means you can't do it quickly or spontaneously.
Right.
And that's the first thing I said when I sat down today. The viewer can smell a rat. So the trick is to try and do a show that can be as honest as you can be and just deal with the stakes that you're given.
Right.
Like this Thursday is a good example. I go to Chicago and go to the PBR. Now, once upon a time, I might have gotten on the bull and hung on and see what I could have done. No way. I'm 53. It's not going to happen. But I did agree to bullfight with the guys who, run in and let the bull chase them after the guy falls
The clowns.
off. Yeah, except they're not clowns anymore. At the rodeo, they're clowns. In the PBR, these guys are...
Oh, you're right. I went to the PBR in Madison Square Garden. I forgot they don't use clowns. You're right.
No, and these...
Why don't they?
I don't know. That's a very good question because the rodeos certainly do.
Because the rodeo's more
Maybe they want
spectacle.
Yeah, they want this to be more like the professional. And
that's it. It's professional bull riding. We do one thing: we ride bulls, and guys die, and the stakes are high, and it's a big deal. So I was blown away that they would let me. I was surprised that production could handle it. I was happy the network was cool with it, but I'm basically going to go fight bulls. And I do. And I live, and it's fine. I very nearly got a horn up my ass. It didn't happen, and I'm grateful for it. The footage is fun. But the point of the story is, or at least maybe the irony of it is, we spend the morning letting bulls chase us, and it's amazing. And then afterwards, I walk backstage, and I meet a cowboy. And they're bringing in about 65 big bulls, and they all have to go into individual pens because when the event starts, each cowboy is matched up with a specific bull. And if you get the wrong bull, the whole thing is no good because the bulls are rated, the cowboys are rated, the whole thing's an algorithm. Right? It's very, very specific and serious. So you got to get the right bull into the right cage. Problem is, all these cages are interconnected with heavy iron spring-loaded gates. So there's a latch, you pull the latch back, you push the gate forward, you change the dimension of the cage, thereby allowing a bull of various sizes to come in. So imagine lots of cowboys pushing lots of gates simultaneously with these big iron latches coming back and slamming shut. There's only one rule. Don't put your hand where the iron latch lands.
Of course, yeah.
I break the rule immediately. The iron latch flies into my little finger and breaks the end of it. I finally have my fingernail back. Smashed it into a pulp, like exploded, right? And suddenly, I just can't tell you how often this has happened. You survive the big thing. I jumped out of a plane 15 years ago. No problem. Pulled my own chute. Fell down the steps in the parking garage. This is the same thing. Okay?
That's humiliating.
This is the same damn thing.
Let us laugh at that, please.
I survived the bull.
Right.
And then my finger smashed by a stupid gate. And the cowboy who lets the latch go looks at me and says, "Oh, yeah, that'll smart." And I'm like, smart. I got blood all over my shirt.
Yeah.
And I turned to Frank, who was the guy I was fighting the bulls with, and I hold up my hand just to show him. And he looks at it, absolutely no expression. And he kind of makes a little pouty face, and he holds up his hand. Same hand. No little finger.
Whoa.
And he says, "Yeah, I'll give you a call when this grows back."
Wow.
Point being, A, it's the little stuff that always creams you, and B, you can't complain to a cowboy.
Right.
Yeah.
We went through the same shit with radio. Yeah. I mean, most of the stuff that we're known for, we cannot do anymore.
Yeah.
They will not allow it.
It's true. Management put us in a cage. They tied our balls. They watch us just jump around like assholes.
Well, let me ask you something. How do your listeners take it? Because I know it's got to chap your ass, but do they understand, and are they still with you?
It's for the most part, they've changed with us, I guess. Others, maybe that was the thing they really wanted to hear from the radio show, so they've moved on. But our hands were tied. We're just tied. We just cannot do it.
More of Opie and Jim's Best of the Week still to come. Welcome back to Opie and Jim's Best of the Week.
Apple and Friends.
TJ Miller's calling from faraway land, and we haven't had him on in a couple of years. TJ.
Hasn't been long.
It's been a while, I think.
Opie, Mr. Norton, hello.
Hey, well, you got a lot more
TJ.
here. You got Bob Kelly, you got Tom Papa, and you got
TJ.
Eliza Schlesinger.
Hey, TJ.
Hi, Mr. Pop, I don't care for. Hi, hello. I'm coming in hot, guys, from Tokyo. I'm really making it happen.
Why are you there, TJ?
My wife had a friend, a very close friend that had a wedding. So we came out here, and then we decided to stay for about 6 or 7 days afterwards. And it's been the strangest experience of my life, by far.
Why? You can't just say that. Why?
We went to a robot restaurant last night before going to private karaoke. The robot restaurant is a full show, Las Vegas style, with robots dancing. But the robots aren't that advanced, so it just looks like they're flailing and dying. But the hardcore Japanese pop music, like I'm on the street in Tokyo yelling this stuff, and many people that are much shorter than me are looking at me with dirty looks.
Do you feel like a giant over there?
A loud giant?
Oh, it's the best. Yeah, I do feel like it's a nice thing to walk around and be like, none of you will fight me. But then in the back of your mind, knowing that the Yakuza will kill you and then everyone in your bloodline. Yeah, I'm gigantic. Yeah, I'm bigger than anyone. I like push, elderly women out of the way before I go on the subway station. It's great.
It's awesome.
I wonder if that's the restaurant that was on Anthony Bourdain's.
It
was, right?
It was on CNN. It was like they battle robots, and the woman that runs it wants to take it to. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay,
it's super cool.
I've done the private karaoke too. That's pretty.
Why private karaoke?
You just get your own room, right? You get your own room.
With your friends?
Yeah, and you think as an American, you go, this is stupid. We've got karaoke. Now it's just us in a room, and we have a lot of beers, and we're yelling at each other. But then after about 4 or 5 drinks, it's the most fun you've ever had in your life. You're just belting out Billy Joel, being like, the connection between us is overwhelming.
And isn't it
And then
okay.
I got to tell you this, though. I have to tell you guys this story. So yesterday, Kate and I went to a maid bar. So have any of you heard of a maid bar?
No.
It's all these girls. They're dressed as like French maids, but like anime style. And you go and you pay like a strip club fee, like an entrance fee of like $35. You get a free drink, but there's no alcohol. And these maids they call Kate Princess, and they called me Master. Ooh. And then you can order pancakes or ice cream. That's either the ice cream looks like different animals, and if you order pancakes, they write your name on it. It is insane, and they never get naked ever.
Are you sure you weren't doing mushrooms?
Wouldn't that be funny? I'm actually in Akron, Ohio.
They're pretty fucked up over there in Tokyo. There's a lot of strange shit you could do.
So weird. Such an oppressed people.
Did you, I don't know. I mean, did you check out some of the sex stuff without actually getting involved?
I mean, to tell you the truth, Kate's a little sick, but we were going to go over. They have massage parlors where I understand there's, more than just a massage. So we may go look at that. But we went to a girls' bar. It just says girls' bar.
Right.
And then it's all Japanese characters. So we went there. Now is the entrance fee. And we thought, okay, well, this will be like a strip club. It's not. You pay $30 for a free drink, and two girls come and just talk to you and act interested in you. Just like two semi-attractive women.
That's a big thing over there.
Just the tension.
Yeah, that was on the Anthony Bourdain show as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no sex involved, but they're like sort of like your girlfriend without the sex for a few hours. You could hire them.
Because they're emotionally...
I think you could
constricted.
I think you could
repressed.
cuddle with them as well, and they'll kind of just brush your hair and shit like that.
They have websites for that here.
Whereas in the United States, they're like, okay, you can come in, but you can't film anything, and don't touch their vaginas.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
None of that.
Did you go to the?
I would like one that just tells me, I love you and doesn't bitch at me about yard work. Fucking taking the trash out. Maybe not in a ponytail every fucking day. Wearing my sweatpants and t-shirt when they used to fit. How's that? Can we get that? Can we get an Asian girl to do not that?
Yes, master.
Here's your ice cream, animal ice cream.
Did you go to the panty bar, TJ? I heard about a bar. I'm not sure if it's Tokyo. Oh, sorry. I'm not sure if it's Tokyo or Thailand, but it's a glass floor. They got
Tokyo.
Is it Tokyo?
Yeah.
They got a whole bunch of girls, the regulars, but then other girls will come in, and the whole thing is they wear skirts with underwear, sometimes no underwear, and then underneath you pay to go underneath the glass floor and look up
like
the
an
whole
aquarium.
Time. Yeah,
Is there a
look up the
scratch
whole
and sniff
time.
element to this, or is it
great.
just?
Can you imagine they try to put a bar like that in Times Square?
Are they just a bunch of people just like unconscious because they tried to jump upwards?
Hit their head. That is twisted stuff, man. Twisted.
Yeah, it's really, it's a bizarre world. And you can get, there are vending machines everywhere. And one of the things that you can, it says Kirin, it's all the Suntory, those are all the kind of alcohol vending machines. But you go, and it's just like if Coca-Cola had alcohol, but also soft drinks, and everything's in Japanese. You have no idea what you're getting. So at one point I was like, oh, I'm having like an iced tea, and I was drinking like a coffee and Bailey's. What's happening here?
Man.
How expensive is Tokyo? I want to go there.
It's really
so
high.
expensive.
Is it
It's
right?
expensive.
It's like one of the most, if not the most expensive city in the world.
Eliza's got it, though.
It's pretty
According to her
expensive.
podcast,
I don't have
she's
to
got
apologize to anybody.
it. She's got it.
Suck my Japanese dick.
She's got it. No problem.
No problem.
Yeah,
I
they
got
have-
all of you.
I think it's about the same price as San Francisco, but they're not as outwardly self-righteous.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Nor is Japanese. I guess they're Chinese.
Well, they have the toilets. They don't have toilet bowls at the airport. They have people. They have
It's a service. They open them.
they have just a hole in the ground in the airport. And I mean, I didn't go further down, and they do have American toilet seats further down, but I just looked in the first two, and there was just a hole. So I got fully naked. I just took all my clothes off because I didn't know how to shit squatting
without getting in your pants.
Yeah.
I'm a little too big. So I had to. I just took all my clothes off and just shit naked.
How creepy is that, right?
It was creepy.
I would love to see someone walk in and be like, "This isn't really how we do it."
Yeah. That's
like,
the urinal.
This is a great idea for a new bar.
TJ,
Coin fountain.
I've known you a long time, sir, over the years, and I'm kind of sick of your voice. And the reason is because of that Big Hero fucking 6 movie, which I loved. I loved it.
Or How to Slay a Dragon.
Big Hero 6.
I don't think it's Slay a Dragon. I don't think it's a tutorial on how to kill a fictional.
I love the movie the first 10 times I saw it, but I'm up to about 25 times now that it's on Blu-ray /DVD /everything. My kids love that movie.
It's a great film, and you know what's so funny is, for whatever reason, I'm just unattractive enough to be in lots of terrible movies, but my voice is in this Academy Award winning. It is such a good movie.
It's so
I'm
good.
glad you mentioned it because It's so good. It's such a beautiful, and then being inside the Disney culture is very strange because they're all kind of like, we're very grateful. We're grateful to be working with you. But as you learn from them, they're aware that they're like, and also we have a great time. We party a lot, and we change the sort of ethical and moral compass of the coming generation. And Big Hero 6 is great, but it's also a statement about universal health care. It's amazing.
Did they explain to you at Disney why they have to kill somebody in their movies, though?
Yeah, because I know. I asked all the same things exactly. And they said, yeah, because we want to teach people early on that there is tragedy and loss.
That everything you love will be gone.
Oh, that's great. Because then you have to sit down with your four-year-old and explain that.
TJ, I watched that movie on a plane recently, and it's 6 a.m., and I was like, I'm going to watch Big Hero 6. You were phenomenal in it. The movie was great, and I was crying. I'm 32, and I was sitting there crying when the brother, dies. Spoiler alert.
What? What?
Yeah.
What happened?
Stop! You
I swear to God, I was going to watch it this afternoon. Jesus Christ.
I felt that way about ordinary people.
Don't censor me.
Wow.
TJ, it was a great movie.
Way to go.
He comes back to life as a transformer. That's the other spoiler.
There it is.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but my kid doesn't understand that. I was fast forwarding through the explosion because that's how he dies, Eliza. And then my kid finally was like, "Why do you keep fast forwarding my fucking movie?"
So they don't show him dismembered. I ruined
It
it.
happened again.
In which
in Tokyo.
There will be no Big Hero 7.
In which episode of Silicon Valley do you die?
Tom's just mean.
Hopefully in the premiere.
Were you on season 1?
Yeah, I mean, so
he's great.
I hear it's hilarious.
April, it's really, really funny.
He's so good.
There's two things that I'm very lucky to be a part of. But Silicon Valley is April 12th, and it's very, very funny. And the first season people loved, and I think the second season is going to be as good. My performance is much more sort of shallow and two-dimensional, but you'll sit through it. You sit through it for the rest of the for the show because everybody else is great.
It's a great show.
It's great because too, HBO has really got it on. I mean, they and Netflix just have it on lock because they're very, very do your thing. We're not going to give you notes. Just do what you need to do and make it as funny
They totally
as
let the
possible.
artist be in
So
control.
that trickles down.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Deadpool. That's going to be huge for you, huh?
So bizarre, the comic book mania, the fanboy mania that surrounds it.
Right.
That's kind of a new thing for me. But, yeah, it's very fun. I'm already done filming my part. It's a small part.
What'd you play? Who'd you play?
Weasel.
Universe.
Who'd you play?
I'm Weasel.
Weasel.
I'm like the arms dealer friend.
That's how I see you.
The whole the movie is about the origin story. Yes, I am a weapons dealer on the side also.
So that's what the movie's about, the origins of Deadpool?
Yeah, because they want it to be the first installment of a franchise.
It's great. How do you think it's going to be?
Do you like Deadpool, Bob?
I love Deadpool.
I think it's going to be really good. I think that it's a comic book movie that's different. There's so many comic book movies, but this one he breaks the fourth wall. He looks into the camera. He's kind of an anti-hero. There's a lot to it, and it's very funny. And Ryan Reynolds he's been involved with it for 5 years trying to get it going. It's kind of a perfect part for him. So yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'll be just as funny as I was in Transformers 4. You just wait and see.
I think it's going to be big. I think it's going to be as big as Iron Man.
I didn't know you were a big fan of Deadpool.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know what Deadpool is.
You read the comic books?
I do, but the reason why it's going to be good is because it's a rated R comic book movie, which they don't make.
that.
But they did. They are making it now. That's why they wouldn't make it originally because they didn't think a rated R comic book movie would make a lot of money. But with Kick-Ass movie came out, the one you guys said would suck, and it actually was fucking great.
I said it would be good.
Stop rubbing it in.
You did not. You all.
I guarantee you, I loved that movie, and I wanted to enjoy it. It looked great.
I took a 45-minute pounding in this studio, right where Tom is sitting, about that movie gonna stink.
Oh.
That movie's going to stink.
I loved it.
Why'd you guys do
Tom's in the
that?
hot seat. That's a tough seat, Tom.
Yeah, it's got a fist on it.
So you sit at home with a comic book, like when you're
I know. I do it on the
spare time?
iPad.
Oh, on the iPad.
The Marvel app on the iPad and the DC app on
They
the
got
iPad.
the apps now. It's all nice.
Oh, and it's good too because I'm so stupid. I don't know which block to go to next.
Right.
In the comic, but this does it for you. It like you swipe and it brings you to where you're supposed to go.
Okay.
Yeah. Like sometimes I read like the block underneath it. It's like that doesn't make sense. Yeah, 'cause you fucking idiot.
It's confusing. It's a mosaic.
Well, TJ, what are you going to do today in Tokyo?
Guys, I mean, it's nighttime now. I'm just going to wander around and figure out if places are serving food or they have small karaoke rooms. Maybe I'll go to a capsule hotel. But, you know, for the most part, I'm just trying to make sure my wife gets a little bit better and less exhausted. And I'm excited to come back. I really am excited to come back to America. And I'm going on a stand-up tour in May and June. All those dates are on my website. And I think that's good. It's weird to be here and not be able to talk to anybody how weird it is.
Right.
So I can't wait to get back to the States. Yeah.
Good for you.
Hey, do you eat sushi?
Yes, I eat a lot of sushi here, especially because we can't figure out if they have other food.
There's that place.
Jiro Dreams of Sushi.
Jiro, yeah, it's supposed to be. I hated that documentary. It bored me.
I liked it.
I loved it. Are you
him and his rice.
Really?
But you
gotta go.
Go to that. It's probably the best sushi place in the world.
No.
He's not going to get in, though.
Yeah, you could. TJ, you're a movie star. You can get someone to make you a reservation if they're open.
If you're that
People love
close, you got to go.
I can't walk down the street without people saying, "You in Yogi Bear 3D?" Oh my God!
Get in that restaurant.
It's in a subway, right?
Yeah. I've been there. It isn't. We can't get a reservation.
Oh,
right
okay.
now, but I've been there. That's a great documentary. But the food is beyond. It's such a bizarre experience. But yeah, we can't get in.
Too busy. Yeah, I thought the documentary. I wanted to like it, and it just bored me. The guy with the rice, and he gently handled.
Really?
Oh my God!
It was very artistic.
I liked it.
Fest.
Passion.
Gave a fuck.
Those slow pans.
But ridiculous. All of
Well,
you
he's got to
have
make the rice
gone-
with something.
The reason you guys are all doing this is because you have such a strong work ethic, and that's what that movie is about. You guys, if you didn't
That's
like
right.
it, you don't know what you're doing. It's lazy not to like that movie.
quick.
It's about work ethic.
That's true.
Yeah. It's so quick. Yes, you're right, DJ. You're right. So I don't know. Go to another sushi joint. What kind of sushi they have there that's a little different than the States? Does anyone know? They get way more exotic with their fish.
Yeah.
A California roll just comes out and tries to convince you to go to yoga with it. It's like hot yoga.
Right.
No, I mean it's amazing fish, and all the food is very, very good. But it's so weird. They have a place called Lotteria, which is like their McDonald's, but you can get a burger that's 5 patties. So it's just gigantic. But they're made of sausage, like breakfast sausage, but much grosser. So, that place is great. So I've been going there all the time. I throw up immediately afterwards and then go back in and order another sandwich.
All right. There you go. Thank you,
Come
TJ
back to
Miller.
America, TJ.
Yeah, it's this Sunday night. Is it Sunday night at 10 o'clock? Silicon Valley Season 2 is the premiere. And it's not TJ Miller on Twitter.
Yes.
It's good talking to you, man.
And thanks, guys. Thank you very much for having me. Arigato.
Arigato.
Well, we never forgot you after the Cloverfield thing. We go back to the Cloverfield days.
Yeah.
We go to back in the day. Everything's transformed, transgressed, and matured, but we're still here together on the radio. Arigato.
See you, man.
Thank
Bye,
you, TJ.
TJ.
Bye, TJ.
TJ Miller.
Hey.
Hey.
We'll be back with more of Opie and Jim's Best of the Week. We now return to Opie and Jim's Best of the Week.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Nice to see you. Good morning, James.
Hey, guys.
Max, my
Hey, Max.
manager.
Hello, Max.
What's up, Max? How you doing, buddy?
Take a seat. We're actually.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, let's look around here.
Sit down, buddy.
Max has got a cool toy.
Yeah, man, we've been exploring. It's his first time in New York, so he's just enjoying FAO Schwartz and went to the show, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like FAO Schwartz.
Why don't you put him on a mic? So,
Yeah, come up, talk. Come here, sit.
You sure?
Yeah, why not? Just tell him not to curse.
He won't stop. That's right. No cursing, okay? No cursing.
Just nothing, like nothing. I didn't think anyone would want just like rocks.
Yeah, that's right. No, it was cool.
Rocks and
Is he putting on the accent, or is that?
No, it's funny because I was born in the States.
In English.
Yeah,
You can do an American
we
accent?
live in American as he goes back between the two, you know. So, but I was born in the States, raised in London, and Max was born in London, raised in the States. So.
Yeah. How old were you when you moved out of California?
I think I was about 8. My dad was a teacher at UCLA, and well, he was a hippie, and he wanted to go home. Is basically what the score was. So yeah.
Oh, so your dad's a Brit?
Yeah, he's a Brit.
Got it.
He's a Brit. We're talking about the show, all right?
It's funny, every interview they just want to talk to the kid. They're like, all right, Bernie, you get a project.
You let the kid sit down for a second.
Yeah. He's got all the secrets, you know.
So you moved out when you were 8 years old and you picked up the accent because you have no American accent at all.
Yeah, that's right. I've definitely got tapes of me as a kid with an American accent, but yeah, you just want to fit in, don't you? When you go home.
Can you drop it now? Can you do a credible American accent?
No, when he's in movies.
Is it terrible?
The kid's like, no, this is not at all believable.
It's true. Yeah, you're right.
Like the first time he said car in American, he said, "Get in the car."
Yes.
The cur?
You cur?
Yeah, okay. I'm working on it, okay? I'm playing, yeah, I mean, I do American accent and stuff. Maybe not so much New York. It's very much a generalized, American.
Right.
Because obviously it's much more specific here, and even the boroughs are.
Yes. I think we'd love to hear your generalized.
I would love to. Oh, my God,
please.
No, please.
The British guys are always good at that,
They're
though.
very good. They're much better than we are at doing
without a
British
doubt.
accent.
Yeah, all the guys from The Wire. Right?
Yeah.
Idris
Elba, Dominic West.
Dom, yeah. We're all coming over here to take your jobs on.
It really is humiliating. Everything about like a rugged real American is played by a Brit. We just can't
But
do
you
it.
actually pay over here as opposed to at home where you're.
Well, the tax rate's a little different,
public
isn't it?
service, yeah.
Plus, we have like 9 seasons. They have like a season and it's over. You gotta go find a new
it's true.
job.
Kit Harrington's been in the building, I believe, and we were going to meet up this morning and have a sword fight, but we just missed each other.
Wait, he's here today?
Yeah, he was here. He was here. He's promoting some show he does. I can't remember what it's called.
I didn't know he was here.
Small thing, yeah.
How long were you on for?
I was only in for 2 seasons, and I was a massive fan, so I was like, I got in touch with him and I was like, I'll do anything on it. And so...
Were you requested to be on it?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean to my agent where I was like, look, if you can get me in, that'd be great.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
I request to my agent all the time. Can I be in this? Can I be in that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't work.
No.
I want to work for you.
The only thing I get is this show.
I want to be on Game of Thrones. I just want to carry Peter Dinklage around. That's all.
Hodor. I could do that. Hodor. That's not hard.
So you played because I'm up on the show. So
Oh, sure,
yeah,
right,
I love
yeah,
it.
yeah. Well, I played a jerk. I'm afraid with this face, I get to play those parts, but long may it continue, But I played Carl Tanner, and he was just a ne'er-do-well who was in charge of Craster's Keep, and had a great big fight with Kit. And for those who haven't seen it, I won't spoil it, but it was great fun.
Yeah. So, but you won't be on this season.
No.
So, I guess people can surmise he moved. He moved to another location.
To the countryside.
He retired, That's what people do on Game of Thrones.
How tough is it to shoot those sword fights? Did you have much stage combat training?
I had a bit, to be honest, anyway. The only restrictions is that we were filming inside. Kit had a big, I don't know if it's a broadsword, but it's a long sword. And there was a big fire in the middle. And also there was an inordinate amount of pig poop everywhere. So we were like kind of rolling around in that, and there wasn't much space to kind of, use the sword, etc., etc. But obviously they've got this amazing stunt team that have done, hundreds of fights now. But also, I feel a bit sorry for the different parts of the cast, because the Night Watch, they're all in, Iceland and Ireland, and the rest of them are like Croatia, Malta, getting the sun. Whereas it was pretty you know, my family's Irish, and I love Ireland, but it was pretty rainy and cold in Belfast, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, it just stinks to have to shoot those snow scenes when, you know, like you see the rest of the show is shot in beautiful locations.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
You know, it's like,
I mean, it's a high-class problem, isn't it? At least you're working on that great show, but...
yeah, it's really hard to go back to that, you know, 5-star hotel at
yeah, that's
night.
right. It's so
yeah, it's a good point.
I need a steak. Yeah, my feet are so cold. Excuse me, get that PA to rub my foot.
Massage. No. But the other thing is they're all a really good bunch of people. You know, there's no jerks. They're just really good. They work really hard. And
I like the woman who plays Alita. What's her name? She plays Cersei.
Clarice.
Oh, Lena. Oh, she's a blast.
She's quite sexy.
Yeah, she is.
I met
just
her.
Did you really?
When I was doing Ferguson's show, she was on that night. She was really nice.
Yeah, she's
Lena
great. We know her a little. Yeah, she's great. Really top girl. Funny,
Tattooed, very
funny.
tattooed. I recall.
Yeah. She's pretty like she's game for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Really
Why did you have stage training before? When he asked about that, why did you already have sword training? You said
drama school. You have to do this. I mean, I failed that miserably, but you have to do a sort of semester of sword, you know, of sword fights. Fencing.
I'm gonna let you guys a little behind the scenes peek behind the curtain of Broadway and the way the theater world works. When you're in training as an actor, you typically take stage combat classes in which sword play will be one of those one of the elements.
Just in case you ever get to play one of those many roles that have a sword. I mean, come on, I failed.
Were you in an improv class in college?
Yeah, basically. No, it's a way, and it's all numbered, right? With sword fighting, it's a numbered system. So each move has a number, and there's like 7 or 8 basic moves that you do. And so when you choreograph a sword fight, you're basically going 1, 4, 5, 6, you know, like that.
Yeah, that's what they tell you, and then you actually do the thing with some mad actor who's been out the night before.
Well, don't get me wrong, I've never been hired to do this. This is all theoretical.
It can get quite dangerous. I've seen lots.
Did you
of
ever get your
shows.
fingers smashed?
All the time. Yeah, I've definitely got some scars from Game of Thrones. Just yeah.
Are they real swords?
They are not real, but they are weighted, and so if if somebody misses you, it does hurt a little bit, not much. You know.
Oh, okay. But I didn't realize you had to take class that was part of drama. I didn't go to drama school. If you see me act, you'd never know. No.
Really?
Yeah, no, I know. It really
didn't go?
It's a gift. I mean, it's one of those things. I show up.
You and Mr. Roper went to the same school.
Yeah. I've got to say, you also have to take classes. You know, you need a pair of jazz shoes, and I was always the guy at the back of the class, desperately trying to keep up. They're teaching you all these things which you're never going to use. But yeah, it's like.
Well, do you want to be an actor when you grow up?
Yes, I mean,
not you.
You do?
You do?
Oh no, you heard it here first. No, seriously, you want to be an actor?
Why don't you get him a job on Game of Thrones as one of those little kids?
I'm not going to help you. You have to do it yourself.
Well, like, we may get an agent for my 9th birthday, which isn't too much.
You're going to get an agent for your 9th birthday?
Not for nothing. The kid's got a lot of charisma.
Yeah.
He really does.
Yeah.
It's very smart thinking. For your 9th birthday, I want an agent.
That's better than paying for school.
Yeah.
Here's some headshots.
It's a lot nicer than what I got for my 9th birthday. I got a beating.
I got a cake with a fist in it.
All right, I won't say that. I'm happy you're here. So what do you do when you're in New York besides just going to the toy store?
This was Max's first time, so we went to see a show last night.
What'd you see?
Finding Neverland. It's at the...
really good.
Michael Jackson story?
It was great. That's right.
Is that what it is?
No, it's...
I really thought that's what it was. I don't have kids.
Yeah,
I'm not sure I do.
That's a good show to take your kids to. The Michael Jackson story.
Yeah.
Right. There's a meet and greet after just for the kids.
Close your ears, mate. Yeah. No, it was Finding Neverland. It's in the Luntfontein Theatre, I believe. Matthew Morris and Kelsey Grammer. It was a really good show.
It was sad.
Very sad.
sad.
Don't give away any spoilers.
At the beginning, everybody oh, bravo. At the end, they're like, okay.
A little sad.
Everybody's dying.
No, don't.
That's okay. Spoil it. Good. Everyone dies.
I don't feel like this audience is going to see Finding Neverland anyway. I could be wrong.
Yeah, not at all.
Right.
I really wasn't even kidding when I said that. I thought that was about. I was dead serious.
Jeez.
I mean, if it was a joke that bombed, I would have immediately just acknowledged it, but I meant it. I'm not
terrible.
a cultured man. Well, it could have been something about him.
Yeah, it could have.
There could have been.
Yeah.
All right. So what kind of toys did you buy?
Mostly pop toys.
Yeah, like from the from Age of from the
Jack,
Avengers.
Teller,
Sons of Anarchy. You know, like these little toys from the shows.
Captain America and that cyborg. I forgot it.
Ultron.
Do you watch? No. Do you let your son watch Game of Thrones?
I want to. I really do.
No, it's too violent, right?
It's too violent.
At the moment. Trailers.
Yeah, you wouldn't like it. A lot of naked girls. It's no good.
Yeah.
No good. No good.
Maybe one day, but not at the moment.
Did you bring him on set with you? You ever been on set with your dad?
Did you? Yeah, with Turn we did.
Yeah.
Turn's the show that we've been working on in Richmond.
Oh yeah, it comes out this Monday at 9 o'clock on AMC.
Is that the second or third season?
It's the second season, and on AMC. But it's we're so excited about it this year. The first year, essentially, it's a really fantastic spy story, true story. Washington set up this extremely successful spy ring, and the reason it was so successful, it didn't get discovered until the 1930s. You know, that these small group of essentially farmers and whatever from a place called Talkit, Long Island, right? They set up this incredibly important spy ring, and we're in the second season now. And it's incredible. Really, really looking forward to it.
Who's the spy ring going
Tom,
after?
will you stop touching your microphone? Are you driving me
the
batty?
English. You know, I also play a Brit. I play a major in charge of the town. And us guys basically came over and occupied. It was an occupied. It was a war.
And who ends up winning the war?
Well, I don't know. I never learned that at school. I seem to remember it might.
Spoiler alert!
It's a great show.
Right,
I've seen maybe 5 or 6 of the first season. I'm not all caught up, but it's fascinating because it's a true story of the spy network that our commanding officer George Washington set up.
We had to bring my sister to the premiere, and one drip of blood, she just buried her head into my mum's lap.
Yeah, she
didn't like the blood.
One drip of blood.
Yeah,
a lot more than a drip of blood.
Oh. Yeah, I like a good bloody movie.
Yeah, I do.
But the without being too boring about it, but it is actually the story of the founding, of America. And I think as an English guy, we don't learn about it.
Oh, no.
Really?
No, not
What
really.
what do you learn
story
about?
do you get told?
You ever hear the
It's
tea
very much the
story?
kings.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, they say, something happened over there. And
Yeah, they accidentally knocked tea into the water.
We let them go.
We could have kept it.
We left because they threw out all our tea.
That's right. Yeah. But we genuinely, unless you study history, of course you would learn about it. But at school, you're not. It's not forced down your throat. So to find out really about the truth of the matter was that if King George had been a little bit less mad, I suppose, and had been a better politician, but perhaps we still would have been together. But we came over and really treated you guys badly. So I think the best.
I accept your
best
apology.
thing
Yes.
won. Yeah.
Wait, what was King George's problem?
He was insane.
Oh, he was crazy.
And he was fighting these wars on all these fronts, against France and Spain and whatever, and he needed money, and he decided that, the colonies... yeah, that's right. He was going to just keep taxing you guys, and thankfully, some very clever people got together and started...
What percent tax was he throwing?
Well, they had this thing called the Stamp Act, which was essentially every single piece of paper letter that was sent needed to have a stamp on it. And that was the kind of nail in the coffin, because it just wasn't, a lot of taxes aren't fair, but that one was just ridiculous.
Yeah, that hasn't gone away. We still need stamps.
Yeah, but it was on everything. It was on everything, like every single piece of paper that you sent. It was official business, And also, you were an occupied country that you had to, there's an example in the show of soldiers living in the houses of the citizens here. You had to put them up and feed them, and we did not behave well.
What'd you do?
Good. Well, I can't go into exact details, but I just mean in terms of
it was oppressive.
Yeah, and there was a lot of people who didn't know which side they were on. There was people who were loyal to the crown, you know, living here, and they were treated badly as well. You know, there was an army to feed,
Right.
and so if there was, you know, crops or animals, livestock, whatever, they would just take it, really. Yeah.
So basically, it was occupied, and you guys kind of took what you wanted.
It was like that, and so this story, you know, about these spies, you know, they were like the original, you know, the guerrilla tactics used. There was no textbook about spycraft.
Yeah, what kind of tactics did Americans use to get rid of them? I mean, there was no suicide bombers back then, but what did we do to get rid of people?
There was certainly insurgency, as it would be called, and also it was you know, basically Washington and a number of other people put, you know, modern spycraft together back then. You know, invisible ink, which of course wasn't around. There was a thing called a cardan grill, which was it was just a very sophisticated way of keeping codes, you know, because essentially spying was a very ungentlemanly thing. If you got caught, you were hung the next day. There was no honor about it. It was something which nobody wanted to be involved in, actually, if you were a gentleman, or, you know, in the army. And so, you know, Washington was using these new techniques, and that's what the show is about, like how it all started and turned the tide of the war, you know.
Wait, invisible ink was from back then?
Yeah, it was...
Also invisible cars, which James Bond later picked up. But yeah.
Invisible plane at the old WW. What? How does invisible ink work?
Well,
by the way, I think your son would ask smarter questions than I'm asking. I'm just legitimately curious now.
You're like the guy that works. He's the guy that works at Spencer's Gifts.
I still use invisible ink. Yes, I wish my contract was written in. How does that?
Well, like, there were different. There were definitely different chemicals used, but in the one that they show in our particular show, the ink that they used could only be seen with the reciprocal chemical. So I think, I don't know exactly what it was, but it wasn't just lemon juice, you know, it was a very sophisticated. Sometimes they would write in the inside of eggs. The print would go through the egg but not show on the outside, so that was a way of, you know...
How do you write inside an egg?
Well, you would do it...
Get a chicken to do it.
That's right, the chicken...
Who show on Travel Channel, how do you do everything?
Don't you want to know how you write inside an egg?
I know how you write an egg.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you do. You get a pen, you open the egg, you write inside.
Exactly. You put the yolk back in?
Yeah, you put it back in.
So they wrote on eggshells?
They wrote on eggshells, and it went through the egg. But watch the show, it explains it much better than 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning.
All right, I just want to know.
You're asking lousy questions.
Yeah, I know I am. But I think they're actually very good questions, because I want to know
how come the kid's rolling his eyes every time you ask a
question.
He's
seen this. He knows how to write on an egg. I've never written on an egg. I've never heard of it before.
You're boring a 9-year-old.
Well, that's good as an adult.
You know how hard that is to do?
You're also asking him basic American history questions.
Yes, I am.
So tell me, how's Washington, what were his tactics?
I don't understand. Stamp back.
I'm embarrassed to admit. Yeah, we still got to do stamps, right?
Yes, well, it was fair. You know, I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I'll say that when you first said you were occupied here and it was in Long Island, I literally thought it was in the 1900s. I had no idea what you were talking about. I honestly did not. I'm not even being kidding. I didn't catch that.
You didn't.
I was busy.
So you are aware of what century the Revolutionary War took place?
Yes, I am. It's the old 1700s, 1776. That's a big year for us. It's one of my favorite flags.
But you know, this is it. You know, a lot of like, I wasn't taught it in history. It's not just a very dry, boring history show, though. It really is genuinely exciting, and I'm proud to be part of it. I really, you know, specifically in this second season, you see a lot of Washington, and it's kind of
who plays Washington?
He's a guy called Ian Khan. He's a New York born and bred actor. He gives a fantastic portrayal, because when you're playing somebody like that, you've got two choices. You've either got to, you know, kind of present him set in aspic, and you know, people have preconceptions about what Washington was like, but what we wanted to show in the show, and you do see throughout the season, is him as the man. You know, he makes mistakes. He makes big mistakes.
Having seen the show, I think the choice to have Washington in blackface is a little weird.
Yeah, it's a really weird choice to have Yaphet Kotto play Washington, but you know. So, yeah, it was kind of like Daniel Day-Lewis when he did Lincoln. It's like he played this guy who told corny jokes, and the voice was weird. It was like he played him as a real guy instead of like this stereotype Gregory Peck thing.
Is it all factual? Everything factual? The take any leeway for the script.
And you thought my questions were stupid. That's a terrible question. Are there any planes in this?
It's an actual good question.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Thank you.
What's he going to say? He's being polite.
He said Jim's questions were good too.
Yes, they were.
No, he didn't.
The timeline is absolutely correct. Most of the people involved in it were real characters.
Right.
And that was another thing that we felt, there's a sense of responsibility. These were real people, real heroes. They were really real heroes.
So you see the Brits as the villains in this?
Well, I play a guy who's a British general, British major, and he's basically a middle manager. Not everyone involved in warfare or war is a hero or a villain, are they? A lot of them are just doing their jobs, and it's a hard job. And
is your character fictional though?
There was a Major Hewlett, and he was involved in a battle in Setauket, but we've sort of, taken him on a journey after that.
That was apparently a good question then.
Yeah.
Thank you for
good
that.
one, Robert. Very
that
good.
was thank you, Tom.
I think what a lot of people don't know is that the British occupied New York for the duration of the war.
That's right.
This was all British.
Desert Storm?
Philadelphia and New York with the crowns, and New York specifically because, that's where the Navy was, and, we were desperate, the English were desperate the British were desperate to keep hold of it. And there's a lot of that. The reason why all this happened around here was because, you were able to get from Long Island to, able to move around. The spies were able to do that across the Sound and do it very quickly. Washington needed information really quickly about troop movements, troop numbers in New York. It was really important what they were doing. And that's why it turned the tide of the war, because he was getting this information very, very quickly from the horses.
How do you spy back then, though? Like, wouldn't the accent give it away? They were Americans.
Yeah, they were.
Jim.
My God. This is literally the worst thing to do.
I asked worse questions. I can't
Where's Opie?
I'm curious. Where's Opie? He went and hung himself.
That's why all this stuff is on Velcro.
I think as a boy, it's okay to ask questions that you don't know the answer. Someone once told me the only stupid question is the one you don't ask. That's apparently been incorrect information.
But Nathan Hale got caught, right? A lot of people got caught and they got hung.
But Nathan Hale was really caught.
He was really caught. See? Absolutely. He was.
Good question.
He just said that.
I know. He said it. You didn't ask. I'm reiterating.
That's right.
I want to reiterate.
And Benedict Arnold, you know who he is, right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
he was an egg maker.
He is in the show. He comes in season 2. It's a really, really, really good performance. But, people have preconceived ideas about Benedict Arnold as well.
Wasn't he really not a traitor? He got like a bad rap, I think, in American history.
Well, he was a traitor, but he was also an amazing, amazing leader.
Bad rap.
He was an incredible on battlefield.
And he basically switched sides because he got his feelings hurt, right? More or less?
Well, it's pretty complex, isn't it? But we
know
showed in
about
this
that.
season, basically, he had some terrible injuries.
What happened to him?
He at the battle. Well, I think it's in episode 4. You see him come off his horse, and there's a lot of stuff between him and Washington. Washington saying, "You need to now come off the battlefield," and that was a huge part of Benedict Arnold's turning, as it were, is that he felt slighted. He wanted the glory.
He felt that George humiliated him, and he was going to get even.
He was a big baby.
Big baby.
Yeah, essentially. But he was an incredible leader.
He's a great tactician as well.
Tactician.
I can talk science. I can talk history. Whatever you want to talk, Jimmy.
All right. Can you take over this interview?
Well, I think we're all just kind of chiming in with our questions.
I've never seen anybody here to promote a show about American history instead of actually talking about the show, getting quizzed on the historical details.
Well, I think that's
the host was completely unaware.
I did the morning as well. Okay.
I think it's very fair questions. I don't know how invisible ink works. I didn't know it was chemicals. I had no idea how that worked.
I don't know how people could be spies. How did they get away with it?
How do you spy back in the day?
He's got to move move on to his next interview. Lucky for him.
Okay, well, I think that we did.
Indeed. Yeah.
Come on, this is more fun than just giving storyline. Like, you know.
I hear you.
What do you mean giving storyline?
Yeah, exactly.
The storyline is history.
Yeah, it's a little twisted, the history, though. The whole tea thing never happened. My mistake with Benedict Arnold.
The tea thing did happen. That never happened. That did happen.
It really did happen. That did happen. But to make it all clear, please watch.
AMC. Turn. AMC is great
it's
stuff.
on at 9
It's
on Monday.
Washington. Sorry, but it's Turn, Washington Spies. It's 2-hour season 2 premieres this Monday at 9 at AMC, and they have nothing but amazing shows. And it's Burn Gorman on Twitter. So if you want to follow Burn or comment on my questions,
and I'll give you whatever historical facts you
please do.
We could learn something.
You know they say George Washington has wooden teeth.
Yes, I was actually going to ask you about that.
Oh, Jesus.
He has hippo teeth, not it's actual
Hippo teeth?
Yeah.
Oh, so is our own Eric Nagel.
Oh, you taught me something.
They're natural.
George Washington had hippo bone teeth. There you go.
Wooden teeth.
Yeah.
They weren't wooden?
Terrible. Give you splinters, you could pull them out.
Yeah, exactly.
So they were hippo teeth.
Apparently so.
Thank you. I honestly didn't know that. So basically, the almost 9-year-old who will have an agent soon has taught me about something I believed for a long time. Thank God I didn't ask that. All right, well, Burn, thank you, man. You're a great actor.
You got it.
Thanks for listening to Opie and Jim's Best of the Week. Listen live every morning here on Opie Radio. And never miss a moment with SiriusXM On Demand.